by T-REV, so we'll call him that as well. And he joins us now.
People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss. This something that we find important. Rep game strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will lead up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have it back. So I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome. What's today? Tuesday? I'm lost in my days. I think today's Tuesday on this beautiful, my bad, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, October 11th. We are live. I just had to say the date so people know. Wednesday, October 11th. We are live. Late day. I woke up late, so we'll be doing it later today. I wasn't live yesterday. I worked on some stuff and was straightening out some stuff. So what's going on? Hollis in the building. Callie. I see we got Callie in the building. Hold on, let me move this up too. You know, I gotta shout out. We gotta play them sounds, right? Because I want to get into some stuff on this stream here. There's some things that I want to address. We had talked about it the last couple lives, and that was, you know, Dylan and Bethany possibly texting each other. But now I want to talk about it circulating around to, you know, news stations like, what did I say? Inside Edition, and you have all these different, you know, news stations that are reporting on it. And it's funny because he posted it on Twitter, like I said, 2 months ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago. So now that for some reason I brought it up, and I want to show you guys, I'm gonna show you guys right here where I brought it up at. This was me and JLR.
Just paramilitary type and people with knives. It was strange following that he had.
I have a question for you. Posted something on Twitter and it captured my attention. I'm gonna tell you, it's been on my mind for a month, or maybe since you posted it. You said, "I wonder what everybody's gonna think when they find out Dylan and You said I read your tweet and I was like, man, I got hyped when I read it. I was like, where'd you hear this? You said everyone's gonna freak out when they hear that Dylan and Bethany were texting each other during the murders. When you are here, I go again. MURDERS, the JLR way. When you said that,
I mean, you know, that's you know, my sources tell me they were communicating with each other while the whole situation was going down. You know, and I think that will be brought out. You know, and if that's true, I mean, it's going to be shocking why, you know, authorities weren't called sooner. You know, they did that for whatever reason. My God. Again, I'm not going to sit there and victim bash them, both of them at all.
Right.
People do things for whatever reason, but you know, that 8-hour gap is always going to be a mystery on why, you know, they didn't call the police sooner. You know, and I honestly, my opinion is probably most likely both were under the influence, maybe. Or, you know, dipping and dabbing in illegal narcotics, you know, just for themselves, for their own usage, and they were just scared to come forward or something. And yeah, again,
so I don't know. People thought I was making that up, but this is on an interview. Excuse me. This was on an interview on JLR's channel where we covered the Danilo Cavalcante manhunt. A lot of you were probably here during the Danilo Cavalcante manhunt. Speaking of that, if you're coming in, hit that like button and let's get ready to have these conversations. Let's go. Shout out to you, Sailor. Thank you. I appreciate that. Woohoo, 1 month apart. I'm the best fan. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining the Rev Game family and for being here for 1 month. Gold Dust, I see you with the 9. Shout out to Gold Dust. Gold Dust she's been here for a hot minute. Been here for a hot minute. What else we got going on? I gotta pick. Oh yeah, by the way, there's one more name. I don't think I was able to get a hold of Kat, so I'm gonna have to roll for one more name on the candle giveaway. I got the 2 people that won. I have their information, so I'm trying to send all of 3 out together. So I might have to roll for one more. Let's see. Congratulations. Thank you again. I appreciate all the support. CKI, Sailor, Gold Dust. Gold Dust again. Thank you. I appreciate the support to the channel. Thank you. So many in the building. So many in the building. But this is what I wanted to talk about. The reason why I brought this up in the first place, this whole thing here, is me asking when I went on here 3 weeks ago. I want to see the exact date so I know. So September 17th of 2023, I went on to JLR's show and we debriefed for about an hour and 12 minutes on his show. And we talked about like I said, the Danilo Cavalcante. Then we dove into the Idaho case, and I had to ask him. Because I read on Twitter when he posted the exact question that I asked him. He wrote that, what was that? I swear it was like 2 months ago, and I pulled it up during the live. I even pulled it up. I have it. It's on a live somewhere where I pulled it up. But now, 2 months later, news stations are taking it and reporting it like it's just being talked about. It was talked about when he posted it then. We talked about it here. What's going on, Sunshine? Shout out to Sunshine. Sunshine. Is that the real Sunshine? That is the real Sunshine. Will the real Sunshine please stand up? I want to also dive into this planted evidence. And what else we got here? I want to check this out too.
Dash that like
let's
button.
check this
And
out
if
real
you want to
quick.
support the work I do, please consider a Patreon membership. You'll find a link
What's going
in the
on,
description.
Brandy? Shout out to you, Brandy. What is true? And we off. Woohoo! My notification just happened right now. So you just got the notification now. What's going on, Granny? I gotta know. In the building, Granny Valdis. Hey, T-REV and Rev Gang family. Good to see you. It's nice to see you too, Candy Rapper, aka Valdis. Little Miss Innocent in the building. Gloria, Mimi, Ghost Devil, Candy Rapper for 9 months. Shout out to you. Thank you. Thank you for the 9 months. Wow. A lot of you been here for a long time. Alicia, what's going on? So, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of. It can't mean. It doesn't mean that they helped him in these murders. For people, I'm looking at it in a logical. And you got to think of it from a law enforcement aspect. Just think about how the laws are in America, right? Would these two roommates be walking free right now if they were involved in a quadruple homicide? I mean, you got to think logically here. Now, I see people that say, I'm telling you, they helped them. In our world, if you help somebody with a quadruple homicide, you're not going to be spared. And if you did help somebody, you're going to be caught. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. But it's just it's baffling that I don't know. I just at this point I have to rule out the roommates of just completely not even helping Bryan Kohberger, because that's completely off my mind 100%. I don't think that they had anything to do with this, but I respect everybody's opinion, as you guys know. What's going on, Greedy? Shout out to you. Good evening to you too. I appreciate you coming by. Want to see Tex? Want to see Tex? What do you mean want to see Tex? What's going on, Fluffles? Mystic, shout out to you. Sunshine, I see you. Leeser, Todd in the building. Who you talking to? Todd, where's Todd? Mommy Stormy for 3 months. Thank you.
Bing bang.
A few moments later.
A few moments later. Sunshine's a new member.
Oh my God! Excuse me. The fuck did you just say?
Get her done.
I gotta know Granny for 9 months. Wow. To see all these people that's been supporting for so long is absolutely insane. 9 months, 10 months. I seen one. That's absolutely insane. I appreciate all of your support. 1 month. That's insane to me. But I'm seeing like 9 months. I seen one that was 14 months. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Hey everyone, too many to mention. Mike Jetson. What's going on, Mike Jetson? I noticed that name around. I've seen you in the community. Sue Minna, what's going on? I'm just trying to get out my greetings to everybody before we dive fully in and get to talking about it. What's going on, Todd? Coach Todd in the building. That was Xana's gymnastics coach. Again, that's Todd. Most of you seen Todd on this channel. If you haven't, my bad. Hold on. You said nice night for a meetup. What's going on, Aaron? Shout out to you. Cindy, lollipop. Suzanne, what's going on? Nancy D, Mira. All right, let's dive into it. Let's dive into this real quick.
Description. Now let's dig in. The Idaho student murders case out of Moscow, Idaho, has generated pretty much more speculation and more conspiracy theories than any other case, except maybe the JonBenet Ramsey case. Here's one about the case in Idaho that saw 4 beautiful young kids, Ethan Chapin, Xana Coronado, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogan, slaughtered in the sanctity of their rental home that I hadn't heard before. Some of you may have heard this theory. Ethan Chapin's mother, Stacy, attended CrimeCon in Orlando last month as a guest.
9 months.
While there, Stacy met with journalists and she signed copies of a children's book she wrote about her son called The Boy Who Wore Blue. Stacy was shadowed by a reporter from the New York Times who wrote an article about her after the conference. The article is entitled "The Nation's Obsession with True Crime Meets a Mother's Grief." Stacy, not a follower of true crime, but rather thrust into it because of her real-life tragedy.
So she was at CrimeCon, they're saying. Reports is that, Stacy was at CrimeCon.
Attended CrimeCon to try and help people.
Todd, what you said? PCA shows Bethany was scared and confused. It's not surprising at all they texted. Do you know what's going on? Nope, but I'm not going out there. If they're involved, they wouldn't be texting, says Todd. Todd, I just feel like it's a do you hear that type of texting going? I can't really. I'm speculating, obviously, 100%, but I'm saying in general, do you hear that? What's that noise? Oh my God. Sounds crazy. I'm scared. There's no telling if they felt fear, right? The full truth hasn't fully came out. It hasn't circled. It hasn't even came out. We have no idea what Bethany or Dylan felt on 11/13 of 2022. We have no idea. None of us do. I don't think none of us do. They could have not known, period, to fully thought something of that manner and been so scared that they didn't want to exit the room but if you went to sleep, my thing is, though, if you're in full-fledged fear like that, fight or flight, you won't be sleeping. You're not going to sleep. I'm not sleeping during fight or flight mode in general, but I'm saying that, which leads me to believe that, okay, it was just some noise, but I don't know. We'll find out when it comes to trial. It's definitely a very touchy subject. Brandy says, how can I see how many months for me? It's been a hot minute. I'm not sure, Brandy. Oh, I think it's at the bottom of the screen. I think it's for, let me see. I think we're just buzzing and confused.
Will remember the 4 lives that were lost. She wasn't there to indulge in true crime sessions. She also wanted to connect with other victim families who were looking to find community and build support for a foundation that will award college scholarships in her son's honor. And at a meeting of family members of crime victims, she met relatives of Gabby Petito, who, as you all probably know, was done in by her fiance, Brian Laundrie, in 2021 during a cross-country road trip. Right. Stacy also briefly watched a session with more than 3,000 participants where the crime that took her son's life was discussed. The session was by college professor of forensics, Joseph Scott Morgan, and he was conducting a forensic analysis of how Ethan and his 3 friends had been brutally done in on November 13th of 2022. 2022. Stacy backed herself into an alcove to observe the discussion. Apparently, Morgan mispronounced Ethan's girlfriend's name, Zena
9 months.
Cornoto,
Damn.
and got a fact wrong about the case. The mistake had something to do with his description of the landscape around.
Shout out to Granny. Thank you for the 9 months, by the way. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the support, guys. I really do. I gotta know, says CrimeCon was awesome. She was there representing Rev Gang. I seen you walking around. I seen pictures of you circulating around there from some people that I was talking to in the building that were there, and you showed me too. So I was like, oh man, that's awesome that you're out there representing. Shout out to Granny. What's going on, Don? Came in just in time. Yes, you did.
Around the
We're
crime
just getting
scene. I
started.
think by landscape it means how
okay.
the bodies were found inside the crime scene house. The audience was apparently mesmerized, but within minutes, Stacy exited the room. Once out in the hallway, she whispered, "Why does that person get to talk about my kid in front of all those people? Should I go up on the stage?" Stacy was frustrated, as any parent in this situation would have been. Stacy then sought refuge in a private lounge where she came upon CrimeCon's founder, Kevin Belf. She told Kevin how unnerving it was to hear someone she didn't know and who lacked a full knowledge of the case's details talk about the crime to such a large audience. She told Kevin, quote, "There are so many people in there. It's shocking." Kevin told Chapin, quote, "I wish I had called you and said, don't go in there." End quote. Kevin had carefully chosen Joseph Scott Morgan for this session because he was someone he trusted not to indulge in sensationalism. So Stacy, who was still upset at this point.
Shut up. Just Me in Idaho says, you know, it's crazy to me that I live here in Idaho. The girls were from where I'm at, and we don't ever hear this kind of stuff from our local news channels and newspapers, only the internet. I don't know. It was a wild time when that went on. It was a big ruckus. Going back and reviewing, if you go back and review the pressers to this case, go back and review the pressers and you'll see it. They were all over the place.
Point decided to go back into the large
God
room.
bless y'all.
And when she got in there, she got in line
Allison,
for the
thank you.
microphone. She's a brave lady, and she waited to talk to Joseph Scott Morgan. When it was her turn, she spoke briefly. Her voice was shaking, and she said she wanted the crowd to know that all the positive things that they heard about the victims were true. She also said, quote, "Don't forget these kids. They were amazing, amazing kids in the prime of their life," end quote. If someone's going to talk about this crime, especially if one of the victim's parents is in the audience, they need to do so with extreme care and professionalism. But I can't imagine Joseph Scott Morgan doing anything to hurt a victim's family, at least not deliberately. But again, he's only human, so it's possible he made the mistakes that upset Stacy Chapin. It goes to show that even the most trusted experts make mistakes occasionally. It's very unfortunate that Stacy was there when it happened. She also told the New York Times reporter of her fury upon learning that some people were speculating at some point that her son Ethan might have carried out the crime as part of a...
No shade, but it's strange she would attend the CrimeCon but not go to court hearings. But whatever. That's a touchy subject, right? Maybe she just don't want to look at the person who took her son's life. You know what I mean? But then I don't know. Like I said, that's a touchy subject right there. I get what you're saying, but then I could get her side too. So I don't know. What's your thoughts, chat?
Murder unaliving plan. Had you guys heard that? I never heard that theory. Clearly, you can understand why that would hurt her. And now apparently another parent is angry, a parent of one of the victims. This time it's about the most recent installment about the case that was in airmail news. Haley's father, Steve Goncalves, is angry that the writer, Howard Bloom, talked about the surviving roommates being awake and communicating with each other on the night of the crime. The revelation from the airmail story is attributed to grand jurors on the case who allegedly leaked the information to Kaylee's father, although apparently Howard Bloom concedes that neither Mr. Goncalves nor his attorney Shannon Gray agreed to comment. Mr. Goncalves said this about Howard Bloom and the article. This is nothing more than grandstanding and a very, very
What's going
poor
on, Sonya?
attempt at getting attention. This piece is obviously fictional, but written in poor taste, end quote. It's kind of a confusing quote because he's saying it's obviously fictional, and then he says, but written in poor taste. So Mr. Goncalves is saying flat out that we cannot trust journalist Howard Bloom's multi-part series on the case.
Okay, so this is you guys answering. I'm trying to see. Maybe she knew it was going to be delayed and it would be there when she gets real. Sunshine says, I agree. T. Low 12, Livy Live. No, I'm just curious to what people think about that because I can see how some people could look at it that way. You know, how could she be at CrimeCon but not be at, you know, any of the court dates for Bryan Kohberger? And everybody, I say this a lot. Everybody grieves different. Like Jeff, but he came out. Jeff came out and he talked. Right? He came out on that 48-hour episode with Jazzy.
Me being upset about hearing this, I decided to contact Airmail, see if Howard Bloom fact-checked his article or if someone else at the magazine fact-checked it before publication. That is the normal protocol. I know because I was a senior editor at a magazine before starting my podcast. I'm wondering if Steve Goncalves shared this information with Howard Bloom but asked him not to publish it. Is that a possibility? I'm sick of information being shared through articles in what I thought were trustworthy publications and in TV shows as well that I believed did their due diligence, like Keith Morrison, who did a show and stated that suspect Bryan Kohberger did in fact purchase a K-bar before moving from Pennsylvania to Washington State for school. When Bloom mentioned there being a receipt for the K-bar and it getting lost, I felt that this was the second time we heard about Kohberger allegedly purchasing that weapon. To me, this was verification that both Keith Morrison and Howard Bloom saw evidence or documentation or were told by trusted sources that Kohberger bought the K-bar. So I've reached out to both Dateline and Airmail magazine. I want to see if they can verify that.
Yeah, Airmail is putting out like some bold statements. I was just reading. The father of one victim learned that the two survivors allegedly had not only been awake while the killings had taken place, but that they had heard everything. Reports Airmail. So where's Airmail getting that information to put that out there like that? That's very brazen, right? Where are you getting that information from? Chapins also live over 6 hours away, unlike the Goncalves family. Yeah, there's everything. You know, that's a good point too, Todd. Life plays in a factor. Very, very good point. Life plays in a factor. You know, we don't know their situation, and that's a very good point. She doesn't want to give BK acknowledgement. Maybe that's why she isn't going to the trial. Hala says, I'm not sure she would have done anything not to have a reason to be there. Midwest says the Chapin family have their own reasons. Everyone grieves differently and in their own time, in my opinion. I take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, family is denying they spoke to him. Grieving really hard. What's going on, Chopper 10?
These authors saw proof or that they were told by a trusted source that Kohberger indeed purchased a K-bar off of Amazon. Let you know if and when I hear back from either Airmail, Dateline, or both. I don't know if we should believe these two prominent entities, Airmail and Dateline, or if we should believe Mr. Goncalves on this. Misinformation from Airmail News, Dateline, or Mr. Goncalves, in my mind, online would be hurtful to this case in the long run. No one should be either making stuff up, as Mr. Goncalves said it was fictionalized, or saying that something that is factual is fiction. Both of those scenarios undermine the case. Of course, some of the tactics that defense lawyers use to create reasonable doubt during trials can sometimes smack of fiction too. But I thought justice is supposed to be about truth. Let's hope the truth, and nothing but the truth, is what the victims' families ultimately get, as well as the jurors, if this case makes it to trial. In other news about this case, Judge John Judge has denied a request from Kohberger's defense team
Howard Bloom is capped. Yeah, we're gonna hear about that from somebody very close to the case in this situation here in a minute after this video.
Against him. Judge
Nice to
denied
see you
the
too,
motion,
Cheryl.
saying it was too premature. Kohberger's lawyers filed the motion in a move to try and get the grand jury's indictment against their client dismissed. They argued for dismissal because they said only 32 jurors were brought in to hear the case rather than 45 jurors. The judge said that this does not constitute a substantial failure to comply with grand jury procedures. Thus, he denied the motion. And now Kohberger's team has 37 days in which to review the evidence and decide if they want to renew the motion to pause the proceedings that are moving Kohberger toward trial. Now, when I looked up grand jury rules in Idaho, it said that grand juries typically are made up of 16 jurors. 16. I'm thinking the 32 grand jurors were selected maybe as backup, 16 to sit in on the proceedings and 16 to serve as backup. I'm not sure why Kohberger's lawyers feel that 45 grand jurors should have been selected. I've written to attorney Lori Hellis, who's writing a book about the Lori Vallow case in Idaho, to see if she can help clarify this. I'll let you know as soon as I hear back. If I hear back, Lori Hellis is hella busy right now writing her book.
Hella busy. All right, so I'm gonna give somebody a call real quick. Hold up 1 second. Let me make sure. Okay, we should be good. We should be good to go.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
Todd on the line. Todd McClain here. Everybody, I'm just letting the audience know. Todd McClain on the line, Xander's old gymnastics coach. How's it going, man? How you been?
It's going all right. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Good. Hey, so sorry about your grandma, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a crazy thing because my dad had a heart attack and my grandmother passed away right after that. And like as soon as he got home from the hospital, she passed away within that day. So it was, back to back little things going on, but grieving and getting through it, and that's all you can do is push forward and be positive.
Yeah.
But with this right here, what is your thoughts on this whole entire situation as far as what's being put out now? We talked about this a while ago. In fact, I think that you were on a live with me. I want to say, and maybe you weren't, but I think that you were on a live with me when I seen this tweet and I read it and said reports are coming out from a couple different sources that I've seen that they were texting during the homicides.
Yeah, it definitely was. I remember that very vividly. And yeah, we talked about it then that, a couple of things. First off, all these are coming from unnamed sources. So we have to take this with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure. There's still this gag order in effect, and there's been nothing in an official document that says that they were texting with each other. But even if that's not the case, if they were texting with each other, to me, it makes perfect sense. You take a couple of girls who live in a house and they're scared out of their wits. We know for a fact that Bethany was scared. She said it in the probable cause affidavit. It makes perfect sense that she would text Dylan. I mean, if these sources were going to know that there was texting going on, you think they might know a little bit about the content of the text, not just that they texted. So it's interesting to me that nothing of that nature has come out. But yeah, if they were texting, hey, I don't know what's going on. Sounds really weird out there. Do you know what's going on? and the other one responds, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not going out there. I'm going to stay in here. And it doesn't surprise me that two young girls, very inexperienced, would respond in nature. And of course, I'm speculating on how they might respond, but yeah. And again, I mean, to say what they should or shouldn't have done, trauma just treats people so differently. I've seen traumatic events have an effect on people. I remember one time I was out fishing, ice fishing. I'm standing on a dock. There's a guy right in front of me who is, are you still with me?
Yeah. I'm listening.
Okay. Somebody's
we're,
trying to call me.
we can hear you real good.
Okay. But yeah, I'm ice fishing. I'm standing on a dock. The person in front of me on the ice falls through the ice, and I grab his collar as he goes down. The guy, I was like 17 at the time. He outweighed me by easily 200 pounds, and I'm trying to pull him up out of the water. Well, there's other people on that dock, and they're not doing anything. I look over at them, and they're just, their jaws are on the ground. They're in shock. They don't know what to do. So I finally yelled at them, "Come help me!" And it kind of broke their shock, and they came over, and the three of us managed to pull this guy out. Shock just does different things to different people. So to try to say they should have done this, they should have done that. Well, yeah, it would have been great had they known for a fact what was happening and took immediate action so that law enforcement could have been on scene quicker.
Now, my thing is how are these type of things getting out here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like these roommates, Dylan and Bethany, were allegedly texting each other. How are these rumors reaching the internet? Are they being put out by legit sources, or are they put out as rumors and being spread as rumors? Because I heard of this 2 months ago, and now all of a sudden there's a full-blown article on it. I seen actually there's a couple articles on it. You can look it up now. And it was right after I asked JLR on that interview that I shown at the beginning of this live. And then I mentioned it on my last live, and then all of a sudden after my last live, there was an article about it, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Again, I mean, we don't know who these sources are, and so therefore their accuracy can't be corroborated. And what we do know is that there's a gag order, and that there's nothing that has officially come out through documents. And that's what when something comes out through a document, then we can go through that document and we can test that document as to accuracy. And but if somebody tells me something and then I say, "Hey, T-REV, my source is telling me this," well, my source is full of it. Then so yeah, it's hard to really know what happened, because there was nothing in the probable cause affidavit. We have no information at all about anything that Dylan heard, saw, didn't hear, slept through. We don't have a clue. You would think if she knew something substantial, that she had heard something and could testify to something, that it might have been in that PCA. Of course, that PCA, they only needed to put enough information in there to prove probable cause. They didn't need to put all information in there.
It's just the 8 hours is questionable,
Right.
The 8 hours later is questionable, and I agree with a lot of people on that. But the thing is, though, and that's the part where it comes into play. If you think about it, well, if they thought that's what was going on upstairs or anything like that, if you're texting each other, what would stop you from hitting 911? And I'm sure that's what most people are thinking.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's contingent on the fact that they really were texting, if they really were talking about, hey, what's going on? And, but another thing I try to keep in mind is that Bethany and Dylan grew up at a time where kids were taught to shelter in place and be quiet. I didn't grow up in that. That was all, I was out of high school and into college, and moving on with my life by the time Columbine happened and those type of drills. But I mean, those kids grew up where you were drilled. If something crazy is happening, you shelter in place and you hide and you're quiet, so who knows if that's what kept them quiet for a considerable amount of time. I don't know. I could only speculate. And if they didn't know for sure, Dylan could have slept through it all and slept for that 8 hours. I mean, it was pretty well documented that most of those young people in that entire town were out partying that night. It was a big football day. Their team had a big win. You know, basically that town was all about partying. And it would be very reasonable to believe that Dylan and Bethany were inebriated. And that's why, you know, they, you know, who knows?
You know, Todd, this is I'm gonna call it right now. That 8-hour gap is gonna be a fight in that damn courtroom.
Oh yeah, the defense is certainly gonna talk about that 8-hour gap. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Somebody asked before we dive into anything else. Somebody asked how Sydney was doing.
Sydney's doing good. She's doing good.
I think it was Allie 08 in chat asked that.
Thanks. You know, she still thinks about Xana a lot. They were really, 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 really close, and so she keeps up with all this new stuff. She watches your lives all the time, usually the day after.
Man, that's you know, to be in her position and to know that she hung out with this person and they were like best friends, and then you know now she's gone and you can never call her or hit her up. And I mean that stuff will bother you. I've lost friends, so I know. I'm telling you, man, it never goes away.
Right.
You know, that memory never goes away. The memories of you and that person in general.
For sure. No, for certain. And I know Sydney, you know, it's she every once in a while she'll be at the gym and you know, she coaches kids now that are about the same age that her and Xana were when they were in the gym together. And when she sees them sometimes interacting the way that her and Xana did, I see that, you know, I see that look. It was really stark in the, you know, when we first found out about the murders, it was really stark.
Well, she trains Journey, right?
Yeah. Yep. She's one of Journey's, Journey's head coach.
I seen I caught the glimpse of the video of her. I think it was during stuff with grandma, maybe even around that time. I don't know. You posted something. And I seen it and I was like, oh man, that's cool.
Yeah. Journey's doing great. In fact, she's going to be competing a level this year that I think, anyway, she probably could compete up. In fact, we have a few months before our season begins, and we're starting to talk about, wow, she's really improved so fast that maybe we'll skip a level. But Journey's doing great. Just posted earlier that on the Discord that we just finalized all of her travel arrangements for her first competition ever. It's going to be in Tennessee at a huge gymnastics meet, and she is so excited. So it's anyway, and that's all thanks to the Rev Gang and their fundraising efforts that made that all possible. So again, thank you all out there for that. But
that's awesome.
And for those who are new, we did some fundraising efforts to put a scholarship together in Xana's honor and memory, and Journey is the first winner of that scholarship. She's going to compete this year. Her mom is a single mom struggling to make ends meet and could not afford to do competition without those efforts. So thank you all for helping out in that regard.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Did you ever talk I meant to ask you this. Did you ever talk to Jeff after the 48 hours? I think you posted something, but it was nice to see him on there and talking with Jazzy.
Yeah, I just sent him a message and told him that I was thinking of him. I knew that must have been really hard for him, and that I loved him, and he just replied, thanks. And yeah, we're planning we're going to be getting together here in January to watch the Seahawks kill the Cardinals, and so we'll be spending some time together then. So, but yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
Jeff and I, you know, you could even tell by that interview. I mean, that 48 hour special, Steve and his wife spoke an abundant amount of time, and Jeff was just, it's so hard for him. He's such an introvert. You know, Jeff always had a blast at the party, but was the outside looking in versus the inside, you know, and it's just his personality. I know it was tough for him to do that interview. I hope, and I even mentioned this to Jasmine. I hope that he was able to get a little bit of therapeutic relief from finally talking about it in public, because I know he holds stuff in, and so anyway, I was glad to see him do it, but hurt for him at the same time.
Yeah, I was glad to see him up there too, and I don't know, it must have been hard for him after, but because usually, like you were saying, he's a quiet person.
Yeah.
So
no, I was actually surprised when I found out he had done that interview, because I didn't think he ever would. But at the same time, if in any way, shape, or form he found that therapeutic to finally be able to speak about that, and I thought when he, very adamantly said that, not a damn thing you can do about it, that holding that thought in, I think can be really internally damaging to a person. So finally being able to express that,
right.
I hope he found that in some ways therapeutic. So
hopefully he did, man. There's just with all this stuff that and now knowing, we would be what are your thoughts like just knowing that we would be in trial right now? Potentially we would still be in trial right now.
Yeah, if he hadn't waived his speedy trial right, we'd probably be in the heart of it right now. It's crazy to think about, and now that we don't even know when these hearings are going to happen. Who knows when that trial is going to take place? It's I know. I think a lot of us would like to see it over and done with. Everybody always talks about closure, and I know when this first happened, and for all those weeks that we didn't know anything about what had happened, I always thought, man, if they find this guy, we'll get some closure. Well, I don't know about everybody else, but that hasn't been my experience yet. My experience is every time I see this guy, I'm just filled with rage. I just have murderous thoughts. So I'm hoping that after they convict this SOB, and the people who say they don't have enough evidence to do that or whatever, they have plenty of evidence to do that, and we only know a tiny bit of the evidence that they have.
Some people are speculating that, and it's pure speculation, but I get Deanne Long says, I think Dylan might have known who did that to the 4 victims. Otherwise, she would have not, otherwise she would not have waited 8 hours to call 911.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Again,
it's speculating, but
right.
I get it. It's just when you got, I don't know, because like I said, that caught my eye a while back. That post about them texting I'm like, where did this come from? So when I asked the source, when I got on the live with the source himself, I asked him, and he said his sources in Idaho told him that. So, and the stuff that he usually gets is pretty on point. So that's why I'm like, is that true? Like, what? I don't know, man. It's crazy how some of this stuff slips out.
Right. No, I think if Bethany and Dylan had known that their friends had died or were, in the process of being murdered, that they would have reached out to the authorities right away. So I just don't believe that at all. I think, some evidence would have come to light. What's the basis for all this, speculation of the drugs and of the, there's no basis for any of that. They were teenage kids who were working hard to put themselves through school. Did they party on the weekends? Well, who of us who went to college didn't party on the weekends? But yeah, this speculation that they knew something or that they were tied in somehow, I think it's nonsense. If that were true, there would be digital records of it. You think if they were texting back and forth that the FBI doesn't know what those texts say? And,
right.
So if there was something nefarious that those two had done to try to cover up some crime, they would have been arrested. They would have been charged with something by this point.
Yeah, exactly. They would have definitely been charged with it at this point, because if you were communicating with someone or, they're sleeping now and come in, or, like, you would, that's what you would need to be doing something in that manner to be assisting someone. I mean, the thoughts of him knowing them, I don't know, like, did he know them? You know what I mean? Because there's rumors of this pool party, and I seen screenshots of certain things that I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the same exact spot. I don't know, some place in Moscow where this pool party was, and there's a lot of speculation towards that's probably where he met them at. Now, I don't know that to be 100% true or not, but I
Right.
definitely got that information sent to me, and it kind of checked out.
Right. Well, and what do you think about what Steve had mentioned in that 48-hour special about how as soon as they got his name, they jumped on social media and found an account where he had liked all those pictures of Dylan. I mean, I don't think that this was random. I think that it was targeted, and maybe there was something in that house that told the investigators that. And that's why from day one they were saying that the public wasn't in danger. That this was
and targeted. That's another thing that I'd love to have that conversation with you, because I went back and revisited everything, and I felt like it was a great thing to do in this case, is to go back and revisit the first steps and things that are being said by officers. And one thing that I called on to in particular is them mentioning over and over again that this was a targeted attack. So, in the way that they were throwing that word targeted around, that's what they were saying, and they weren't playing about it being targeted. So something at that scene,
I think so too.
It's something at that scene, Todd, is showing this is targeted, because something there is proving and showing, hey, this is definitely a targeted attack. Who knows what it is? Is there something carved on somebody? What is it? I don't know.
Right. Or something written on the wall, or something that, hey, you reject me, you bitch, I mean, who knows? But I think something in that house, or something that they found quickly in social media, led them to believe that this was a targeted attack, and I think it was, and I think that I think the Goncalves probably did find a legitimate social media for Kohlberger, because who else is going to like all those photos? And those liked photos, I would think, were time stamped as to when they were liked. I mean, did somebody hear the name at the same time as them and race and create a fake account and go like all the? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think that probably really happened, and I think the police knew that perhaps Dylan was, or not Dylan, that Maddie was a target.
And it was horrid. Like, I went back and also watched the first ever video footage that dropped of the coroner.
Right.
And she, I don't know. It was just it's in a documentary I made on this, just a deep dive back into the pressers and looking at the first video of the coroner. It was a bit man, it's just, it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. I hope that they're able to. I hope they have the answers to the 8 hours. They probably already do. I'm praying they do, and I'm hoping it's not a problem created for the trial. I'm hoping there is answers to that, and if they were texting, I'm sure there is answers to that also. Or else, I mean, why would you be free? Because if it was something malicious, you definitely wouldn't be walking free. And if you were charged with something, the media would definitely know that, and it would be posted everywhere. Dylan Mortensen or Bethany Funk, allegedly, it would be posted out there. Their names would be posted out there. They were charged. They helped, or whatever they're charged with.
No, I agree. You're in your chat right now. Infamous Truth Teller says at T-REV, I think she was in shock, but they were all used to a lot of people coming in and out. It just scrolled up on me. I think I'll scroll up and find it.
I see it right here. I got it pulled up on screen. Thank you, Outdoorsy Life.
Yeah. Coming in and out, it's a typical college party. So, I mean, again, Bethany may have been scared at what she saw, but especially with that shock, shock causes dazed, confused. I mean, any type of trauma, whether it be physical trauma or emotional trauma, it will cause symptoms of dazed and confused. Traumatic brain injury. You get that stare in the headlights look, So I don't think that she necessarily was connecting all the dots. She was scared because of what she saw and what she had heard. But I think if she had connected all the dots and would like, oh my God, something horrible is going on here, she would have called the police. But I don't think she connected those dots. And you add that with the fact that she was a very probable chance that she was inebriated, and she may very well have passed out.
Right.
Not and then Dylan too. So yeah, I mean, and again, I think we'll find out. And if they were texting and there was something nefarious in those texts, hey, we gotta hide, we gotta hide we gotta hide this, we gotta hide that.
They would be on their ass.
Absolutely,
They jammed and they got it in the box. I guarantee you, they caught everything that they possibly could until they said, "I wanted a lawyer" in that box.
Right.
They were getting drilled.
Sure. No, absolutely. And not just by local, but, by no doubt state and FBI agents too, that interviewed them. And again, and then, if they were texting and there was something to any of that, they would have that information. They would absolutely have that information. So yeah, I don't think those two did anything nefarious. I think they're traumatized victims. I feel horrible for the way that they've been treated by some of these jerks. Some of these creators too. I mean, this guy from Europe, man, he needs to get his ass whooped because he's just so full of crap. And some of these others that are just saying horrible things about these two people who had 4 of their friends murdered, and they no doubt have.
Don't forget Xana being a drug dealer. That's
Yeah.
one of the ones that's out there.
Yeah, drug dealer, a prostitute, stripper, who was working 2 jobs to get her way through college, and had a loving dad who always supported her. And any, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, some of the things that have been said, and and again, I mean, the way that Bethany and Dylan have been treated since all of this, and again, who lost 4 of their close friends, and no doubt have survivor's guilt, and and just. It's bad enough what they have to go through, and then you have these people heaping all this crap on. It's sick. It's just disgusting.
Somebody said, I'm not up on everything. One of the roommates saw the bodies and then took 8 hours to call police, or are people suspicious? No, what happened is the homicides happened in between the time, and allegedly one of the roommates, Dylan, seen this person, but it doesn't say specifically if she thought there was a crime going on in that PCA.
Yeah, it said that she heard a few things that confused her, so she opened her door a few times to kind of, hey, what's going on? And then the last time she opened her door, she saw somebody dressed in all black with a face covering on, who was feeding it out of there, and we know that that's when he made his exit. And she was scared, but again, that was a party house, so there was often, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever had roommates. I had roommates when I was in college, and I had roommates after college before I got married.
Oh, I definitely have roommates.
Right, and you don't tell everybody who you're inviting over and what you're doing. You just do it. You bring people to the home to hang out in your area, and whatever. And I'd come home many times, and there'd be a bunch of people in my home that I didn't know who they were. Wasn't a big deal. Never thought anything of it. Well, so she heard some things that spooked her and scared her. But again, and if it scared her enough, again, I still say she was in shock. She was traumatized, and she did not connect all the dots. If she'd connected all the dots and known what was going on, she would have called the police. There's no doubt in my mind. She did not connect all the dots. She didn't understand what was going on. Maybe she shot a text to Dylan and said, hey, Dylan, do you know what's going on? Nope, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to bed. Or who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if they shot a few texts to each other and then they passed out, because that was, again, big day for that college campus. The Idaho Vandals had a big victory, up and coming football program who had struggled for many years, big victory. And that town celebrated. So there's no doubt in my mind that those girls were probably under the influence of alcohol, on top of the fact that that Bethany was, through the probable cause affidavit, was scared and confused. So
I wonder. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. I was just watching something earlier on this knife, and it's aiming towards Amazon, which we heard early on.
And her comment there, you know, they have video surveillance showing him take 2 different routes in and out of Moscow that night. So there's the direct route where you come straight from Pullman. I want to say you got to come down 95 and then you cross over, and you could be in Moscow in no time at all. They're only like 9 miles apart. We used to make that trip all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but on his exit, he went out south of town and took a long ways to get around to get back home. No doubt he went a route that he'd already scouted out, and he went and buried that crap somewhere, or he dumped it in a dumpster somewhere. Because he did not take the direct route home on his way home. He took a much longer route. So yeah.
I said, who's speaking? That's Coach Todd. This is me, myself, T-REV, and then Coach Todd, which is Xana Kernodle's gymnastics coach when she was younger. His daughter was very good friends with Xana in general, and he knows the family. He's into this case and has fundraisers and stuff in her name and her memory. And shout out to what Todd does. But yeah, that's who's on the line now. And I like hearing what your thoughts are about what's going on right now in the case and the stuff that comes out. And I've been thinking about it for the past week, and it just the fact that the trial's not going on, it's like, well, like insane.
Yeah.
Because it would have been fast too. It would have been fast that it got to trial.
Yeah, that would have been crazy fast. And I think that's why the defense kept trying to get stays, because they wanted more time. The prosecution, they'll take whatever time they're given to. They're just going to keep investigating, just keep piling on more and more evidence. And I think they have tons of it. I think that car computer's going to tell stories.
What do you think about them getting the car year wrong? I know we talked about that before on the live. I did talk about that with you, and I think that's definitely going to be something that's brought up during trial. That him getting the year wrong, but the argument is probably going to be exactly what you said, and what we talked about during those text messages that we had.
Yeah, I think that the FBI agent's going to definitely have to explain himself why he missed on the years a little bit. But again, I mean, you and I have both examined pictures, and the pictures that we examined of the 2 different years of cars from 13 to 16 looked almost identical. And we examined those pictures in high definition, not blurry blobs going down a roadway, with grainy video from somebody's, door cam, from 100 yards away or whatever the case is. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. And so I mean, so yeah, I think because I have studied those pictures of those 2 different years of cars, the same make and model, and I can't tell them apart. And that, again, that's high definition photographs versus nighttime. So most of those cameras are not, I mean, anybody who's got security cameras knows that there's a huge difference of your video that you're looking at during the day versus at night. At night, you can see fairly well. I mean, you can, but you can't make out all the minute details.
Well, there's some people going off in chat. Somebody said, I'll address it. Let's see. This is stupid shit. Illuminated minding any other case, these girls would be suspects, but because they are pretty and in college, people defend them in ridiculous ways. Mental gymnastics.
Well, I guess Vero is entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, everybody is. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So. I get it. There's I've heard them all.
Well, I'm sure that those hard questions were asked initially. Why the hell did it take? I mean, they no doubt, as you said, when they sat in the box.
I mean, did they take the step of going through their text messages to see if there was any interactions between each other's phones? Absolutely, I think so.
Absolutely, I think they absolutely had to have, and they must have been looked at. You know, obviously the officers asked those same questions. Why did it take you 8 hours to call us? Why did it take you this amount of time? And they evidently had answers that satisfied them. And I don't think those answers were satisfying because they were pretty college girls. I think that's a ridiculous notion. So.
Yeah, my thing is I don't even look at it as I don't care if they're college girls. I don't care if they're from the hood. I don't care if if you're the richest person in the world. If you're involved in a quadruple homicide, and I mean, look at what happened to the football player, for instance, Aaron Hernandez.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It don't matter how popular you are and how much money you have.
If you're involved in homicides, you're connected through paper trail or texting, and you know what I mean. You're texting, or you guys were seen hanging out with each other. You're going to be investigated. If you were at the location, you're going to be questioned and potentially investigated. So, I mean, they said they were investigated, right? And if you go and did you look at all the on the docket or on the little, what's it called? Let me go to the website again and pull up, because there's a bunch of different. Did you ever look at all the different paperwork in this case in general? Because I'm pretty sure they pulled their phone records, Bethany and Dylan.
Oh, I'm sure that they did. I don't remember a document that specifically discussed that. Because I mean, I think anything that wouldn't have be leading. I mean, the defense would have had to ask for that. The prosecutor wouldn't offer that up because that wouldn't be tangible evidence against Kohberger. So even if they did do that, so the defense would have had, and I don't recall anything like that. I have read the vast majority of those documents. Some of them I skipped that were just formal type stuff. But yeah, here's the bottom line for me is that underneath Maddie Mogen's body was a knife sheath that had Bryan Kohberger's DNA on it. Mm-hmm. I don't think he left it there on purpose. I think maybe it's why he came back early in the morning is because he, and maybe he looked around. Maybe, people talk about the timing. Man, that was a quarter of that amount of time would have been enough to kill 4 people easily. And I think the reason he was in the home as long as he was is because he was desperately searching for that knife sheath that he dropped and couldn't find it. But that knife sheath under Maddie Mogen's body contained his DNA. You couple that strong physical evidence with the circumstantial evidence that they have of putting his car all around that crime scene for all that amount of time and then flying out of there shortly after the murders were committed. And what else do you need? What's
your rebuttal to those who go? Because I've said stuff similar to what you just said, right? What's your because this I get it all the time. What's your rebuttal to those who go, well, 8 minutes, 13 minutes, 13 minutes, between 8, could he have done it between 8 or 13 minutes? I don't see him doing it in 8 minutes at all. 13 minutes maybe. But people even think he couldn't even do this in 13 minutes.
I think you could do it in 4 or less. I mean, it just you take a 7-inch blade and you slam it into somebody's torso, and one blow alone. How long does that take? Let alone multiple blows. That doesn't take very much time either. I mean, and so yeah, no, I don't think that these murders took anywhere near that time. I think a lot of that time was spent desperately searching for the knife sheath that he dropped. But yeah, no,
two girls in separate rooms, both freeze up in fear at the same time. Neither called 911 for 8 hours. I smell huge amounts of bullshit.
Well,
a lot of people are saying that, but at the same time, I was saying the same thing Mike was saying right here. I was saying this near the beginning of the time, like after everything unfolded. But as time grew, it's like, okay, like, a thorough investigation. You got the FBI involved. If you think that two young ladies, if they were involved in murders, would not have been caught between, this text would have been exchanged.
Well, maybe we don't know that for sure. And why do we think Dylan froze up? We have nothing that indicates that she knew about any of it. Her bedroom was far enough away. This was a humongous house. It was 3 different levels. Her bedroom was far enough away. She may not have heard a peep and just slept through the whole thing. So why do we think she froze up? We know Bethany saw something, but didn't know what it was. And yeah, people, anybody who makes a statement like that hasn't dealt with people who have gone through trauma. So that's all I have to say about that. Somebody who would make somebody who would make a blanket statement like that has not dealt with people who have gone through trauma.
Yeah, trauma is deep. Trauma is deep. Yeah. It cuts deep. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think people who are severely abused as children don't have any memories of it for decades, and then suddenly their lives are turned upside down when memories come flooding back? Our subconscious mind does things to protect us. And yeah, I mean,
I don't think people understand that trauma that you lose, days of your life. You're live, and you're live. You lose days of life because of certain situations, because it said that you got a panic attack disorder now, and you have trouble being around people in public, or you have trouble leaving here, or now you're paranoid about thinking somebody's coming to your house or something, and the trauma that is now on you from the past. You get what I'm saying? You have this, and it's called post-traumatic stress disorder in general. That's what it is.
Right. Well, and yeah, I mean, people who have traumatic events, often they will sleep for days as their mind fights to figure out a way to deal with it. So to make a blanket statement, first off, we don't have a clue what Dylan did or did not know. We don't have a clue. There's nothing in any document that indicates anything that Dylan knew. And her bedroom was far enough away, and it had been stated that some of them were sleeping. It's a good chance she slept until deep into the next day. If she didn't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning because she was at campus parties or whatever, and I mean, then it makes perfect sense that she didn't, and then we don't know how Bethany processed what she saw.
Absolutely.
We know a little bit about what Bethany went through.
Yeah, we know very little. We know very little about the morning, and we hear these different rumors like, oh, well, this person was the first teller. This person was the first person on the scene, or this person was the first person on the scene, and it's like, we hear all these different stories, but we're not really going to hear the full story until trial.
An infamous truth teller. I can tell just by what she wrote up here that she has had experience working with people who have dealt with trauma. Because, emotional reactions to trauma can include fear, anxiety, panic, shock, difficulty believing in what has happened, feeling detached, confused, feeling numb and detached, not wanting to connect. I mean, Bethany could have been laying in the corner of her room with her arms across her chest, struggling to breathe. She could have been so panic stricken, and it could have literally taken her hours to come out of that. And again, we don't have a clue what Dylan knew. And again, we don't know with any measure of certainty that those two texted each other.
Yeah.
We know that somebody somewhere told some journalists that they texted each other, but we don't know who.
Yep. You're right. You're right about that. It's not in writing anywhere. We can't go find it right now and pull it up.
Right.
We could pull it up on an article. We could pull it up on a Twitter post, but we can't pull it up in black and white in the courthouse.
Right. So, but I think that that there are explanations for why it took so long for them to call. Yes, the defense going to bring that timing up. Of course, they're going to bring that timing up. But is that going to explain away his DNA underneath Maddie Mogan's body? I don't think so. Is it going to explain away all the circumstantial evidence that they're going to?
My thing is here though, Todd, is and I see Mike still going with it, and I respect Mike's opinion. I respectfully disagree, but I used to have the same exact feelings and thoughts and opinions that Mike is having and that many others have, but this was one of my main ones at the beginning. I'm like, no friggin' way, there's no way Dylan, they didn't know anything or blah, blah, blah. And I used to be stuck that way, but when you
Right.
got to really, I've been watching true crime, and my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was a homicide detective in Virginia Beach, and he didn't really teach me like too much, but I was into true crime since I was young. We'd watch Unsolved Mysteries and talk about certain things, but in general, that's besides the point.
Well, and
being around a bunch of different. Say what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, you take into account the fact that one of the most unreliable things that ever enters a courtroom is eyewitness testimony. And why do you think that is? It's because when people deal with traumatic events, their brains play tricks on them. And it's been proven over and over and over again that some of the most unreliable things that enter courtrooms is eyewitness testimony. To say that there is absolutely zero explanation as to why it took them time to reach out to the authorities, and even when they did, I mean, she was so freaking scared that she called her boyfriend first. I mean, I don't know, I want to know. I want to know why it took 8 hours. And I hope it comes out in the trial. We can all understand it and put it behind us, and let these girls start to heal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no way am I gonna accuse them of anything at this point, because if there was something nefarious that had happened.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. I was talking about what Mike was saying in general, and I used to think the 8 hours, the whole, she came. But the problem though that I have still is, but I was able to come up with some type of solution for myself to say, that's actually reasonable. That really could happen. So she opened the door and seen a guy walking by with some type of mask covering face or nose. Maybe she thought it was some type of prank, or maybe she thought it was, who knows what she thought it was. We don't know.
Well,
that's what we don't know.
Right. No, we don't know. And if she did know what it was, it may have traumatized her to the point where, I mean, when people are so deathly scared, especially a young person with very little experience, they can become immobilized, absolutely immobilized. So yeah, I don't know. I think we'll find out more details as we get into the trial. But yeah, I'm not gonna cast any stones at these young ladies who lost some of their closest friends, and not
no only that are possibly gonna look over their shoulder the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they both are going to need intense therapy, and even if Dylan didn't have a clue about any of it, she's still going to need it. Really intense therapy to deal with all that's gone on.
Mike says she was. I was looking for what Mike was going to say. She wasn't traumatized enough to get a description of the killer. Well, if we think about it, then that kind of leads to this theory, right? If let's say Dylan wasn't or it says in the affidavit, frozen shock phase.
Yeah.
So
it does say that in the affidavit.
Let's pull up frozen shock. They said Now, I don't think that Dylan said frozen. I was in a frozen shock phase.
No, she said I was scared out of my wits. I didn't, and
See, when your body is in
yeah.
shock and you think you're going to die or think you are in a threatening situation. So that's what frozen shock phase is. So she did feel she was in fear. She was in fear then.
Yeah, she didn't know when she saw him if he was leaving or not. So anyway, well, brother, I
get where it comes from. I get where it comes from, man. It's
no, I understand people's frustration. The thing about it is that because of the gag order and the limited amount of information that we've been given on this case for all this time, we're all frustrated. We all want to have more answers. I know I certainly do. I know my daughter certainly does. I know my wife certainly does. We want to know, the details of what happened to our dear friend, and everybody, man, everybody who's been following this case wants more information than's been given. But unfortunately, we're going to get breadcrumbs until the trial, evidently. And so yeah,
stuff leaks out little by little by little by little by little in this case, and it just, I don't know, it never stops. I mean, you got that you had that Linda Lane footage that came out, then you have a bunch of different little leaks that drop, then you got paperwork that comes out, and everybody dives into the paperwork down to the last little detail and word.
Speaking of which, let's plan a time to talk about these upcoming hearings, because I got some opinions on
October 26th, a motion to dismiss.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I think it's ridiculous. And it's funny how she's kind of pivoted. Before it was, the wrong instructions were given, and now it was the wrong amount of jurors. So I think she realizes how almost frivolous the argument is. That grand jury indictment's not going anywhere. It's going to stay. But
we've been following this case steady here for. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's in here, the people who've been here for the 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, I've seen a lot of members that are up there in time. I followed this damn near as soon as it came across my desk. As soon as I seen anything, when I seen this story, it captivated me.
Yeah,
and I've been stuck with it since. And the thing, man, it was all a mystery from the start, and now I think things are getting more twisted up over this gag order being in place and nobody being able to speak about what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, because things could be explained, but
and that's what we all want to know what happened. And since we're only be given little pieces from these documents that are coming out and very limited, we have a tendency as humans to want to fill in the blanks. So that's where the speculation comes in, and people start, thinking that this must have happened and this must have happened. Well, we just don't know. We just don't know. But anyway, hey, man, I got to run.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd. I appreciate you joining me on here. Thank you. God bless you, brother.
Yeah, anytime. And love to all the Rev gang. And again, thank you so much for all you guys did to support Journey's journey. And, I'll make a point next week at practice. I don't think she's back in until Tuesday to get some more video of her, and we'll drop it and then be keeping you guys up to date when the competition season starts here in a few months.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you later.
No problem. All right, talk to you later. Have a good night.
You too, brother. God bless. Shout out to Todd. Thank you, Todd. Again, that was Coach Todd. Xander Kernodle's old coach, Todd. Very good friends with her dad, Xander Kernodle's dad, and Sydney and her were, best friends. So shout out to him. Thank you for joining us and, talking to us about this case in general. Very, very good dude. Shout out to Todd, like I said. Man. Let's see what we got here. See you, Todd. I'm just saying, when it comes to the roommates, when it comes to them, it's like, what case can anybody, is there a case right now in this chat? Anybody can name a case where somebody like a roommate or someone was involved in a homicide and somebody that nobody knew came in and did it and she ended up being the one helping them? Is there where's that case at? Where's a case that's like that? Because I haven't seen it. I mean, that would be some shitty homicide detective work, right? It would be very shitty. Be very shitty work. This is what I was talking about though. So after I had asked JLR that, which was on this date, let's look again. September 17th. When did I ask that? I think I asked it around here.
No one would have no time to create a fake one real quickly in his name.
Again, I don't know if you've seen it, but I asked it here. Now this date, this has been out again. You got this. I knew about it since I think he posted it late July, maybe August. So maybe it's been a month, maybe almost 2 months.
And then start friending and following people affiliated with him. Because there were Kohlbergers that he was following. He was following
so again,
Maddie and Kaylee, and he was also following a bunch of dudes, like military dudes and dudes in masks and firefighters and just paramilitary type and people with knives. It was strange following.
What's going on, Tiffany?
I have a question for you. Posted something on Twitter and it captured my attention. I'm gonna tell you, it's been on my mind for a month, or maybe since you posted it. You said, "I wonder what everybody's gonna think when they find out Dylan and You said I read your tweet and I was like, man, I got hyped when I read it. I was like, where'd you hear this? You said everyone's gonna freak out when they hear that Dylan and Bethany were texting each other during the murders. Here I go again. MURDERS, the JLR way. When you said that,
I mean, that's my sources tell me they were communicating with each other while the whole situation was going down.
See, now that was posted on Twitter a long time ago. I showed it on my live. JLR posted that on Twitter himself. Now I brought it back to light and now it's being reported on multiple different ways. Pretty insane. Please do the JLR way. Yeah, no, that's how he does it on his channel. For he'll say MURDER. That's how he'll do it. Oh yeah, I wanted to go over where was it at? This is what I wanted to go over. So in general, what do you guys think that Bryan Kohberger's defense is going to be? What do you guys personally think that his defense is going to be in this whole entire case when it comes down to going to trial and we're coming to trial day? What is going to be the defense of Bryan Kohberger? I'd like to see some of y'all's thoughts on that. Seriously. There's only one JLR. I'm serious. What's going to be his defense? This is going to be his possible defense right here. Let's dive into it.
It's clear from reading court documents and from covering the case that law enforcement had very little to go on until genetic genealogy came into play. Kohberger's defense attorneys wrote in their objection that they want to see.
So you think you think mentally ill? He was driving around. Honestly, I have no clue. Oh man, damn bitches texting each other, but calling for help? Question mark. Just Love says. Nancy says defense is going to be they have the wrong guy. They're going to talk. They're probably going to. I'm going to take a brazen guess right now about what their defense is going to be. Look, there's other DNA profiles here, and there's no matches to these DNA profiles. They weren't able to find out who these profiles were. Now, this could be, or there could be a killer free out there. I think they're going to use these DNA profiles that they talked about, and I think they're going to try to use it to their advantage. That's my personal thoughts on what I think is going to happen. That he was driving around. He was driving around alone. Thing. All right, so because I remember when that paperwork came out. He likes to take long drives, right? Is that what it said? He likes to take long drives. Long awaited. I forget how they said it. He will claim he wasn't there. June says, We know from the affidavit they were on their phones. It said DM and BF activity helped the timeline of the murders. Hold up 1 second. I forgot to share on Twitter. What am I doing? Here we go. I don't know how I missed out on that, but yeah, but there we are. Okay, good to be here. Shout out to you, Tiffany. I appreciate you coming by. I'm just wondering what his defense is going to be, because now they have already dropped out. He likes to go on long rides. So is it going to be the shopping was good in Idaho? Because that's allegedly what he said. The shopping was great in Idaho, guys. I was out at 3, 4 a.m., 2 a.m., scoping out good vegan places that I can go and buy lettuce that doesn't have chemicals sprayed on it. No, I'm just playing. But I'm saying in general, like what was he doing? He will say, I was just driving around, no biggie. Malin says they're going to say he was on drugs and blacked out and doesn't remember. The Nothing says he will do that. He will do what Christchurch tells him to do. Oh, you're talking about that crazy ass crap. I remember that shit. The driving late at night shit isn't going to work. I agree.
How many other potential suspects were overlooked? And they even suggested that Kohberger's DNA could have been planted. They wrote, what the state's argument asks this court and Mr. Kohberger to assume is that the DNA on the sheath was placed there by Mr. Kohberger and not someone else during an investigation that spans hundreds of members of law enforcement and apparently at least one lab the state refuses to name. Prosecutors have now responded to the defense's objection, writing, presumably then, defendant was attempting to show how the investigative genetic genealogy information is material to the preparation of his defense when he asserted that someone other than the defendant may have placed his DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. But the state is at a loss as to how that theory supports a claim that the IgG information is material to the preparation of his defense. In other cases, prosecutors haven't been forced to turn over the genetic genealogy information. I spoke with CeCe Moore, an expert in the field, about this earlier this year.
The precedent that we've seen set is that this does not need to and should not be presented in court in front of a jury. So far, it's really been discussed in pretrial hearings, grand jury trial hearings, if at all. I've been on hold for dozens of cases to be an expert witness, and I've been canceled in every single one because of the precedent that we're seeing set, because of the rulings the judges are making. Oftentimes when the defense tries to object to the genetic genealogy and they lose, which they have in every case so far, they end up doing a plea deal.
Kohberger's trial is currently set for October. Meanwhile, I spoke with Kristen Slaper, an expert in DNA analysis, who managed DNA analysis for years for Ohio's Bureau of Criminal Investigation's Crime Lab. I asked her about the possible claim that DNA was planted and the arguments over genetic genealogy.
What's important to remember is that, first of all, DNA on its own doesn't mean anything until you have a standard to compare. So what I mean by that is you could run DNA tests all day long, get profiles from someone or multiple people, and you don't really know what it means until you either put it into the CODIS database or you compare it to a standard that's submitted. So in a situation like this, where I hear that the claim is DNA is planted, I think it's important to remember that Bryan Kohberger was not known. Nobody knew who did this. And I think that's important because in order for something to be planted, it has to be a pretty, it's got to be pretty planned out to plant someone's DNA. You have to have their DNA, first of all. You have to have an item that their DNA is on and know that only their DNA would be found on it in order for a result to be produced the way that it was, for it to be one person on this knife sheath, for it to be enough DNA that you could generate a profile from this, that you could put it into CODIS, that you could then go on to do genealogy. You have to have a decent amount of DNA for that. And so it has to be really carefully planned, I think, if you're going to plant someone's DNA. And then, like I said, not knowing who the person is when the DNA lab runs the
What's going on,
tests,
Rebecca?
the DNA lab is only generating what's there and what they have. And we always had a saying in the lab that you either get the right answer or you get no answer. Because you're working the evidence that gets submitted by the law enforcement agency, and sometimes you would get a profile and other times you wouldn't. So in my mind, to plant someone's DNA, I think it takes an awful lot of work, and I think it's a little bit too coincidental with all the other facts of the case. Not knowing the outcome, not knowing who did it, that's just my opinion.
So the state says, they had this unknown DNA profile. As you mentioned, they didn't get a hit in CODIS. So they send it to a private lab. There are a few private labs that will do this work for law enforcement, but then they hand it over to the FBI, and the FBI comes up with this SNP profile. It's a different type of profile from the STR used in the lab. And I think this can get very confusing for people who aren't familiar with this. So they hand it over to them, and then they build family trees based on the information that they are given. And then they kind of hone in on him. But the defense makes it sound like they may have overlooked other potential suspects.
So I think a couple of things on that. Yeah.
See, the problem is, though, it's like they talk about this planted. It's like, I don't know, man. You trying to tell me making a murder all over again was I don't know. I get confused with that. They try to come with this planted evidence defense. Planted evidence. It was planted. I mean, where exactly was the DNA found on the button snap? Now I have hold up. I still have this picture. Let me pull it out of my Idaho folder right here. I think Donna sent it to me. Donna, did you send me this? Now it's this right here. The DNA, are they saying was inside the buttons? Okay, so this was. I see what's going on. So it'd be in here. I get. I mean, yeah. Shit. Skin cell fall right off into that.
Yes, what we call a SNP profile or a SNP panel is different from conventional DNA testing. Conventional DNA testing is looking at 20 or 21 locations, depending on which kit you use in the lab.
You're welcome, Victoria.
And
got some new docu-series coming very soon, so I'm glad to share that with you all. I was actually just getting the finishing touches and music and everything for it today. So look forward to checking out some docu-series on all different types of true crime cases. Besides from what we do live.
You have that profile, you can directly compare it to a standard from a suspect, and you can see, does this exactly match this person or not? When it gets put into the CODIS database, the same question gets asked. Is this matching to someone either at the state level or at the national level in the CODIS database? In a situation like this, where you have a good enough amount of DNA and it's a single source profile, you then can go on to do the SNP testing. SNP testing is, if you've heard of the Human Genome Project and you've heard that they sequence someone's DNA, that's essentially what developing a SNP panel is. It's sequencing the DNA, and then it's looking at certain segments of the DNA and comparing it to people that may be similar or not. The origination of this type of testing was really intended for SNP testing or to determine how similar someone's DNA was to their ancestors. So I submitted my sample to Ancestry, 23andMe, and they could tell me, okay, your DNA is very similar to people that live in Eastern Europe, which I always knew. I always knew that I was Polish. And so, yes, my DNA most likely matches that. That's all SNP testing is doing. It's basically saying your DNA has a lot in common with someone else. And that in the situations of ancestry testing, it's populations from Eastern Europe or Ireland or wherever it's from. In a situation like this, they're taking that SNP panel that was developed at a private laboratory, and it's 700,000 locations on someone's DNA. They upload it in a very similar manner to uploading an STR profile or a normal profile to the CODIS database. They upload this SNP panel or SNP profile to these publicly available databases, and then ask the question of how related is the person who owns this profile,
Right.
i.e. is the DNA from the knife sheath, how related?
You said what? Attack the lab's genealogy, law enforcement. That's what the defense will fight. The nothing says, however, the other mistake is a match to Kohberger, so he matches the accomplice pattern. The phone pings, I think, come into play too. A lot of people just dismiss that there's even the phone pings exist. And what about the reports of him, his phone allegedly touching their Wi-Fi? I think there's multiple different things that factor into all of this.
Is this person to somebody available in these databases? I think it's important to note that the databases are publicly available databases. So someone took the time to take their sample, their own profile, their own SNP panel, and upload it to say, where are my relatives? Who am I related to? I want to trace my own family tree. I want to see, my own background. So once that comparison, they take the SNP profile, they upload it to that database. Once that's done, the returns that come back are potential family members of this person. And the return could be a first cousin because of the relatedness and because of the DNA from the evidence profile looking very similar to the person in the database. Because of that, that's how they know the potential relatedness. So once they figure out who's in the database and they find out the identities of those people, again, those people have uploaded their sample. They've given their information. It's public. Once they figure that out, they then develop the family tree. So when you're talking about there could be other potential people, it's probably other relatives of that initial sample that got uploaded. The thing to remember is down the line, they eventually do a direct comparison back to that.
Yeah, so in general, what this is about is planted evidence Bryan Kohberger's potential defense revealed amid DNA battle. So they're already showing that they're going for the DNA. It's already looking that way, in my opinion, also. Attack the DNA.
Original DNA profile with
planted evidence, planted DNA.
On it, and it's very discriminating. That profile, again, it's a 1-to-1 match. So even if there are other people in the genealogy database that look related, at the end of the day, they do that final comparison and it's a match.
I also asked Slaper about the prosecution's argument
FTA.
that the FBI doesn't keep reports.
Hold up, didn't his sister live near there? Maybe she was in on it. No, I don't know about the sister living near there. I haven't heard anything about that. I can't say yes or no because I never heard that personally. I never heard the sister lives right here over in Colorado. I've never heard any of that. None of them. Let me see. I think there was two. Most interesting to see in the digital evidence from phones, computers, car, online accounts, etc. I'm also very interested in seeing that. You know what? I need to find that video now. Now I gotta go back and find it. We're gonna go over that video real quick. I gotta find it now. Here we go. Let's take this ride. Was it this one? Okay, so I have playlist. I think it's in one of my playlists. It's definitely in one of my playlists because we watched it. Watch this. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it right here? No. Hold on.
The outside. Talk about
very sparse.
Yeah, this is it. We got to talk about it. Here it is right here. Hold on. I got to pull this up. I can make it louder too. Yes, we could boost it. Hold up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I wanted to, I'm glad you mentioned that, June. You were talking about digital evidence. I'm wondering if that's what they found when they walked in, when he said this.
The bedroom door is locked. He wants to boot it.
Yeah. You need anything? Your clipboard?
No, I'm good. He's got it. Thank you, guys.
Just one locked door?
Yeah. And we didn't boot it because the keys actually worked. What?
Oh, sweet. Oh,
it's locked because there's only one on
later today, we're going to...
I'll talk later. Yeah.
We're just going to do a quick walkthrough, see what we can see. Are there lights on in there?
Here we go.
There are some, yeah. And we can turn them all on. Very sparse. Fancy computer.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to offer no damn plea deal. I don't think so.
That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy.
So he was told he could do a triage here.
He said what he said?
Mallory's going to be all over that. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Yo, we can hear it. I got the volume boosted. We can hear that. Hold up. Let me boost it a little bit more. We're going to boost that just a little bit more. Because I can actually hear a name being said. Here, 1, 2, 3.
Mallory's going to be all over that. That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy computer.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That I wasn't expecting.
Very sparse. Fancy computer.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy.
So he was told he could do a triage here.
I can't. I'm trying to make out what he's saying. Mallory's going to be all over that. Let's see what y'all say. What do you got him saying? What do you guys got him saying right there? Mallory's going to be all over that. Mallory's going to be all over that. I'm hearing something like that.
That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Mallory's going to be all over that. Is that what he said? Mallory's going to be all over that? Mallory, something in that range. Mallory's going to be all over that. I heard something. Yeah, I thought I heard that too. Sounds like Natalie's going to be all okay. Maybe I thought I heard Natalie, but
Fancy computer.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy.
So he was told he could do a
Mallory or now he's going to be all over that. Sounds like Natalie. Maybe slow down. Okay, that's a good idea. Well, 0.75 it.
That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy.
So he was told he could. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Now he's going to be all over that. So he says that I wasn't expecting that. Now he's going to be all over that.
So he was told he could.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Fancy computer.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, is that somebody going, oh, fuck?
That I wasn't expecting. Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy.
So he was told he could do a triage here. And then once he packed it, you can't do anything until you get a warrant in Idaho for it.
Correct.
That's wild. I'm just trying to guess what he's saying. I thought he said now he's going to be all over that. Did he say fancy? Yeah, he definitely said fancy computer. Listen to me. Fancy computer. Sacred Teaching says, I'm confused. What's wrong with locking your bedroom door? I don't think nothing's wrong with that. Sounds like Mallory. Detective Mowry signed the warrants and is lead detective on the case.
Bing bong.
Get her done.
There's the answer right there. That's what I thought I heard was Mowry. I thought I heard Mowry. Mowry's gonna be. So that answers my question. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Oh my God!
That's what I thought I heard. I thought I heard. Oh fuck.
Fancy computer.
Fancy computer.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, fuck. That I wasn't expecting. That's Mallory's.
That's another thing that I want to talk about. What were you that I wasn't expecting? Third officer says. So you go into Bryan Kohberger's apartment and in a warrant, you say fancy computer, something about Mowry. In the middle of that, it's that I wasn't expecting. What were you not expecting? What were you not expecting? We're curious about that. We'd love to know more about it. Lock your doors. Lawrence Mowry, bing bong. Wow. There we go. Yes, BK's apartment. I'm just saying that. Like, what was it? What do you think that they went in and seen that they weren't expecting? That I wasn't expecting. Could it be something simple? What the fuck, yo? Why am I late? Says Low Stevens. That's all good. You're here now. Low Stevens, you went out there and you went ahead and you
Get her done.
We like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's interesting. Now that if you just think about it, they found something. What is it? Is there a gag order on that? That I wasn't expecting. What would you not be expecting? What did they find? Wonder if they had weird colleges. I don't know. I'm gonna let it run though. Let me take it off that slower mode. All right, here we go. I'll run it back. We'll go through it all though.
Are there lights on in there?
There are some, yeah. We can turn them all on. Very sparse. Fancy computer.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That I wasn't expecting. That's Mallory's going to be all over that.
Fancy,
so he was told he could do a
Mowry's going to be all over that. Period.
triage here. And then once he's packed, he can't do anything until we get a warrant in Idaho for it.
Correct.
So he can triage it while we're still here.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Talking about the bedroom door. Bryan Kohberger's bedroom door was locked. Bryan Kohberger wasn't there. Why would his bedroom door be locked? It just kind of defies logic, doesn't it? I'm going to talk to Brian Enton about that in a moment, but I want to...
Why would his bedroom door be locked?
Effectively said on the 30th, the day of the arrests, the day of this testing for blood, not just
I had to
reddish
go
brown
back.
stains or on the uncased pillow and mattress cover, presumptive testing for blood.
They weren't
Also,
expecting to
they
find a
released new
computer.
floor plans of Bryan Kohberger's apartment number 201. And the big news, they also released a trespass order. Washington State University effectively said on the 30th, the day of the arrests, the day of this warrant, Bryan Kohberger, you may never step foot on this campus again. It is officially going to be trespass. I want to get right to Brian Enton, who's been covering this story since the beginning. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on all of this, but also the fact that we're hearing Bryan Kohberger's voice, Brian, for such an extended period of time in what seems to be like a polite debate.
Yeah, it's like, where do we even begin with all of this? There's so much to talk about, Ashley. 166 pages, documents released just within the last couple of hours in that video that you obtained. The voice I found probably to be the most interesting in all of it. I'd only heard him say a couple of, words in court in the past. I hadn't heard him really complete full sentences before. I've heard a lot of people say that they think that he sounds condescending. Is he condescending? Is he monotone? Is he just we've heard he's socially awkward in the past, but it was very interesting the way he went back and forth with the officer. She really kept her cool. And like you said, even went back and looked up the law and gave him all the information he was asking for. But I couldn't figure out, and maybe you have some insight into this, Ashley, like, was he being condescending or is this just his awkward personality and he actually wanted to know the details of the law? It was very, very strange.
Well, I can tell you this. I spoke with Steve Goncalves tonight, and I asked him what he made of this interaction with the police officer. And Steve Goncalves' exact words were he was respectful, but also quite awkward. Just exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
I also want to tell you what he said about the warrant and the locked bedroom door. These are Steve Goncalves' words, Brian. He said, quote, "My thought is, why would you need to lock a door to your own room in an apartment that isn't shared, unless you're worried the landlord might enter when you're not home and get into your room?" Again, those are the words of Kaylee Goncalves' father, Steve Goncalves. Of course, Kaylee, one of the victims alleged to have been murdered. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television.
Hold up 1 second. I'm here. All right. So there's another one that I wanted to this one right here. This other one right
You read
here.
the affidavit and you just find out that nobody understands exactly why, but he was stalking them, he was hunting them.
The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
This was probably a person that blends into the background.
Yeah, from Pennsylvania. We actually don't have crosswalks.
His neighbors and people who know him superficially would probably never guess that he had any violent tendencies.
It's disgusting to think about someone that used to hang out
I
with.
don't know. Just the fact that it's kind of crazy because this chick right here that you're looking at is the same chick that said that the person who called into my podcast was Bryan Kohberger on the other line. This chick right here is Casey Arntz. They were close, hung out together. They got pictures together, whatever, her and Bryan Kohberger, whatever, from back in the day. But it was posted on TikTok and sent to me. I seen it. I literally seen the TikTok video she made saying that's definitely him 100%. And that's what made me believe, dang, that's him that called in. But I don't know. That whole shit, that whole thing was weird because people that grew up with him said that was him on the line that called in. Look how close, 11:22. Oh my God, those eyeballs.
All the time to do something like this.
Are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
If you got to know him well, you would see layers of things that were a bit off or different.
What I do know is that Brian did have anger issues.
You could tell there was some off about him. Very quiet, calculated about what he says. Actually very similar to how he walked into court. No different.
I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh, no, yeah, I can find it for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything that I've read about Bryan Kohberger would fit the type of person that we would expect for doing a crime like this.
All right, we've got some news tonight, some new information released, and this is the information that prosecutors are attempting to get or have received, but is now under seal. But we've got what the requests are from their warrant. First, Amazon data. Take a look. All detailed customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories.
Here we go.
All details of items in carts, to include all items added to the cart, all items removed or deleted from the cart, and all items saved in the cart, wish listed or shopping baskets. They want to know what the accused killer was shopping for on Amazon. Next one, very interesting. Spotify, search queries, streaming history, playlists, user library, browsing history, account settings, interactions with other Spotify users, user third-party services, devices, and applications in connection with the Spotify service. Next one is even more interesting, related to Spotify. User device sensor data to include motion-generated or orientation-generated device sensor data. Had no idea that Spotify did this, which the user device collects about the way the user moves or holds their device. Okay, from Apple, the contents of all emails associated with the account, including stored or preserved copies of emails sent to and from the account.
Exactly.
The contents of all instant messages associated with the account, including stored or preserved copies of instant messages, including iMessages, SMS messages, and MMS messages sent to and from the account, including all draft and deleted messages. And don't
He said, T-REV, do you still have the Brian call? Well, they said that it was debunked. I don't know. Everybody have to do it for yourselves, but nobody ever reached out to me, law enforcement wise, and said it was him.
Forget, folks, this is on the docket. Motion to dismiss. It's a big, big hearing, October 26th.
We've done that plenty of times.
And of course, we will be covering that for you right here on Court TV and closing arguments. Let's bring back in our think tank, Bernardo Villalona, Lori Murray, Ian Friedman. Ian, this is a case where no murder weapon's been recovered. We do not believe any bloody clothing has been recovered either. We're not sure what, if any, evidence was even recovered from the white Hyundai Elantra. So in light of that, and the fact that the key piece of evidence is some DNA from a knife sheath from this button snap up on top as the key, really, to place him at the scene, the knife sheath that was found beneath the victims' bodies. How important is this search history and this internet history, Amazon, Spotify, Apple?
I think it's critical. I mean, this is a case that technology is going to help make. I think here they've got the sheath, as you said. If there's a knife that was ordered by Amazon that fits that sheath, game over. Because that one, as defense counsel, that's going to be really tough to get around. Now you add to it all of the movements that put him in that place, search terms that are talking about it, order histories and so forth. It's going to be a problem if all that adds up. But if that knife was ordered on Amazon, or if they're able to prove it anyway, that he had the knife that fit that sheath. And this
that's the thing, though, is I got to get with the docket, because I know we follow each other on Twitter, but I'm going to actually reach out to him in concern about the whole entire Amazon receipt, because he was the first one I've ever seen anyone post or talk about it way before Dateline. I want to know.
Getting around the sheath by itself with his DNA there is tough enough, but they put that knife on order to him. Good night.
Lori Murray, you can learn a lot about defendants these days, right? From the digital footprint, from what we're doing, what we're saying. In this case, they need as much as possible, right? This defense, it's going to be a death penalty case. The defense is fighting every issue as hard as they can. They're incredibly competent, the defense in this case. What are your thoughts about this information, this data from Amazon, Spotify, Apple?
Well, I thought that their requests were very thorough, and I was impressed by the thoroughness of it. First of all, let's talk about Apple. I don't think that they're going to find that many text messages on there, because I don't think he had any friends. So you might have some emails that are, spam emails, but I don't think he had a whole lot of social interaction with anybody. So Apple, you're probably not going to get much from. Spotify is interesting to me. I didn't know they kept that data either. I'm going to have to watch my Spotify. But, I guess they're going to look for whether he was near the crime scene with the Spotify, whether his phone was,
we'll
and
find
what
out.
orientation it was. But I think you can get that same data from Apple. So that's a little bit odd to me. But they want to hear whether he's watching shows like How to Get Away with Murder or listening to true crime podcasts and, all of these, maybe they're all stabbing deaths that he's listening to about on podcasts. But the most interesting one for
Whoa. Is this what people mean when they were? I keep seeing this, June. Some other channels are speculating that the YouTube warrant is to see if BK called in the T-REV.
Oh my God!
Whoa. Was there? That's crazy.
for me is the Amazon one, as it should be to everybody, because they're not only asking for this particular knife. Maybe they find that he got the knife there. Maybe they find it. That is a huge magic gift that Amazon would give them. But what if he was just looking for knives? What if he just shopped around and clicked, and they asked for the clicks, not just what he bought, but what they clicked, so that they actually look at all of the things, and he clicked on 17 different knives that were like this one, and then went and bought it from the local store so as not to have the record of it. He's still caught. And so I think that's a really good search and a really good subpoena.
So hold up, where's this at? What are we talking about? Like, where's this at? Let's pull this up. Hold up 1 second.
Back with us. 13th, 2022.
Now, where's the whole YouTube? Hold on, I wanted to pull this up too. Where's the whole YouTube? I'm about to find it.
It is the highest profile true crime case in the nation. November 13th, 2022. The brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students. But many of the details and legal filings are sealed and hidden from the public. And now that the case has been brought into a public courtroom, information about exactly what happened has become less public. The accused mass murderer denies being involved and claims to have an alibi.
I see a bunch of people talking about it. What is it? The warrant was issued before the actual caller named Dave appeared on another podcast channel. I actually was working with them to find out who he was. I mean, live here on the channel, we went through, I talk about it a lot, 80,000, 90,000 phone calls just to find that number. And finally got a hold of him weeks later.
He also claims the grand jury process was unfair and the prosecutor
Absolutely.
committed misconduct.
Absolutely.
But that's all we know. The details of those allegations, like so much of this case, have been shielded from the community. The same community that was put into a state of complete shock and fear after the murders happened. The same community that pulled together to find leads and share information with investigators to help catch an alleged killer. So
Yes.
now the question is, will the public get to see and hear what happens in the public courtroom during this public trial? Tonight?
Yes, I actually did have a video disappear. I did have a video disappear that I can't find. And that's the Kayla call.
We assess the state of this case,
I believe that's it.
the state of the evidence, and the state of the victims' families who have suffered more than anyone through all of this as we investigate the Idaho students' murder case and trial.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It's a huge case. It's the biggest case that we have. But I want everyone to understand as we begin this hour tonight that our courtrooms are public. Okay? You, me, anyone. You can go down to your local courthouse, federal courthouse, regular state courthouse, and walk into courtrooms and see what's happening. I mean, they're ours. They belong to us. They don't belong to the judge. They don't belong to a prosecutor. They don't belong to the lawyers. They don't belong to the sheriff. They belong to us, we the people. It's our government. It's a branch of government. It's ours. It belongs to us.
Darn
Now,
right.
one of the reasons that Court TV is able to get cameras inside courtrooms because many states believe like I do, that courtrooms are public, but not everyone can get down there. Some people have jobs. Some people just can't make it there. And what the cameras do is allow the public to see what is happening in our government. That's it. Our cameras become your eyes and ears. Our cameras replace you getting in the car or getting in a plane or getting on a bus or getting on a train and heading down to your local courthouse to see what's happening. Cameras in the courtroom allow you to do that, us to do that. Because again, they're public and public for a reason. Now, this becomes an issue with in every case, with every defendant. I want to get a fair trial. And every defendant is entitled to a fair trial, but not necessarily a secret trial. And it's interesting to see the reaction of many criminal defendants and their defense teams about how they react to a case when all of a sudden it becomes notorious or high profile and people are invested in finding out and seeing if justice will be done in the case, whatever they believe justice is. But again, it's not like
T-REV, what about Papa Rogers' YouTube account? Because he knew way too much. I did a little segment on Papa Rogers. I still think Papa Rogers allegedly was Bryan-Kohberger. People say they debunked it, but where?
these trials are happening in his courtroom or the judge's courtroom or the prosecutor's courtroom. It's the public's courtroom where all this is taking place. So let's go back in history because we have history here. And I know this is a big case right now, but I've covered some big cases through the years. Former football player, a former mother, and I don't know what the other guy ever did. I don't even know if he ever had a job. He was a community watch person, self-appointed. 3 very public trials, extremely public. O.J. Simpson, that woman, and George Zimmerman. Couldn't have been more public. There were headlines, there were news crews, there were reporters, members of the public digging up every detail on these cases. And they happened in different years and different times, but they were so public. And these 3 cases were enormous, enormous cases. The one involving O.J. Simpson was the biggest. I mean, it's bigger than big. Yet, in these very public trials where things were filed in the courtroom and people were allowed to see them, and where motions were made and cameras were there, and
now they're trying to stop all that shit.
There was an openness where you understood what the issues were, and the discussions were done in an open courtroom. In these 3 very public trials, I think the 3 defendants would agree that they got very fair trials. Because all 3 of them, not guilty. Not guilty. And I would have thought after these 3 trials that that whole conversation would have ended, that people would understand that a case can be high profile in the news, everywhere, anywhere, people talking about it, people giving their opinions. But at the end of the day, we trust our juries to listen to the judge and base their verdicts on what they see and hear and what they don't see and hear inside the courtroom. What evidence is presented, what evidence isn't there. And if these 3 could get a fair trial, who were all vilified in the media, were convicted by public opinion, all were found not guilty in a court of law. That somehow, some way, when a trial happens somewhere else, everyone's like, oh my goodness gracious, how on earth is this person going to get a fair trial? Nobody's allowed to see everything. Let's hide it all. And unfortunately, I'm seeing this happen in Idaho. In the Doomsday Cult Killer case, and now in the case in the Idaho students' murders. It's mind-boggling to me.
Shayna,
that everything is being like hidden in secret. Like this has never been done before. Anyway, for those of you who don't know the story and the history, there was a time where People were speaking publicly about this case because they were searching for a killer. Chanley Painter has more for us tonight.
The probable cause affidavit in the case against the accused killer of 4 University of Idaho students pieces together the movements of the suspect vehicle and coordinating cell phone.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Somebody left a voice. Let's hear it.
Hey, T-REV, Chris from NJ. I just want to say that I think those guys were federal officers, the cowboys that came out of the house, the Idaho house, and the one guy, I think, what's in his pockets, in his hand is the latex gloves. He's probably picking up evidence and rolled them up, black latex gloves in his hand. And his left pocket, I think, looks like an iPhone, cell phone, and the right pocket is probably his wallet or badge. And then his right front pocket is probably his backup weapon, like a .380 automatic or something like that. Because him bending over to collect evidence, he can't leave the gloves there. He probably rolled them up in a ball, put them in his hand. And he probably had to put his backup weapon in his pocket to kneel down and pick up evidence. And that third floor picture, if that's not photoshopped or anything, from the third floor, from the drone camera, looks like it looks like blood. Same thing running through the back of the house. If it's not photoshopped, they probably sprayed everything down with luminol, and it probably leaked out.
Wow.
Where it separates the third floor from the second floor there. And that's it. If you want to see something really crazy, with Delphi, take a picture, look up a picture of Richard Allen when he has the goatee and the orange shirt on, the orange jumpsuit, and find a picture of Arthur Lee Allen from Zodiac, the suspect for years, and put those two side by side and look at how similar they are. These guys probably might be related, but that's all I got for today. Just my opinions, my theory. Take care, brother. See you soon. Bye.
Shout out to you, Chris. Thank you. Shout out to Chris. Chris always calling in. Shout out to Chris.
Location data beginning in the early morning hours of November 13th.
What's going on, Trace?
2:42 a.m., the affidavit alleges that Bryankohberger's phone places him likely at his apartment on the WSU campus where he was a PhD student studying and teaching criminology. At 2:44 a.m., Kohberger's vehicle and cell phone are on the move. Police say his white Hyundai Elantra is spotted on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Nevada Street at Stadium Way. According to the affidavit, it was here in this area of the WSU campus where surveillance video and Kohberger's cell phone placed him here around 2:47 a.m. According to the affidavit, he spent several minutes in this area where he allegedly turned off his cell phone before heading out of town toward Moscow, Idaho. By 2:53 a.m., Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra is observed heading in the direction of Moscow, Idaho. At 3:26 a.m., the affidavit then places Kohberger's vehicle, now in the town of Moscow, in this residential neighborhood on Indian Hills Drive. This happens to be a road directly overlooking the Moscow Police Department. The Elantra is picked up on surveillance video moving west past the 700 block of Indian Hills. At 3:28 a.m., video shows the vehicle on Steiner Avenue at Highway 95 as it made its way towards the King Road neighborhood where the victims lived. Then from 3:29 a.m. to 4:20 a.m., the suspect vehicle, the white Hyundai Elantra, is observed multiple times on video passing by 1122 King Road during the alleged time of the murders before being seen on video speeding away on Walenta Drive.
Nice to see you, Jenna. Thank you.
The probable cause affidavit states that the car likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive, a road that eventually leads to Pullman, Washington.
They got that timeline down to perfection, honestly.
About 2 hours after he allegedly turned off his cell phone, police say Kohberger turned it back on here near Blaine, Idaho. It's about 10 to 15 minutes south of Moscow, a rural community off Highway 95, and it has its own cell tower. According to the affidavit, from 4:50 a.m. to 5:26 a.m., Kohberger's phone movements show him allegedly moving south towards Genesee, Idaho, and west towards Uniontown, Washington. Kohberger may have taken a well-known back road called Thorn Creek Road at this point in his route towards his apartment. These are all very isolated roads, but Thorn Creek Road is known to be even more desolate. Police allege Kohberger eventually made his drive back into Pullman, Washington from the quiet road of Johnson, where his vehicle was picked up on this security camera. The first time a camera captured his Hyundai after the murders were committed. By 5:30 a.m., police tracked the movements of Kohberger's cell phone and vehicle back to his apartment.
And that was information that was the big release initially, the affidavit, the arrest affidavit of this.
I don't know. I still think about that, the Chronicles of Bolivia video. Hold up. It's the video I still think about.
So we're working. And I have my phone. Kaylee's phone is my phone, so we saw all the calls that she had made, and we
makes her demise.
And it did not make me feel good either. But I mean, I was just like.
But when people are like, "How do you stick up for him blindly?" We're not blind.
No.
Hold up, I gotta take this back.
We know his family.
He's been around my babies when my babies were born. He would watch them for me so that I could go to the grocery store by myself.
Right. He had nothing but love for Kaylee and Maddie.
The thing that got me is, I love that woman. I've been married 27 years, but I've lost my cool.
Right.
Things I shouldn't say. My daughter.
I think they got him too. I think they got him. I mean, there has been cases that have people have gotten off where everybody's been like, well, yeah, I think they're gonna get him, but I don't know. I think they got him. I think they got him.
She had an interaction with a date. She said, "Call me a bitch," and she was like, "The whole I've been with one boy my whole life."
And I said, "He's never called you." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she's
Hold up, we need to start. Okay, so in this film right here that I don't know, how many of you, has anybody seen this? Have you guys seen this? Some people haven't seen this documentary with the Goncalves family in it. This is who Kaylee Goncalves was a fan of. So the person who was doing the documentary, Chronicles of Bolivia, was Kaylee Goncalves was a fan of her. I'm sure a lot of you know that. I'm sure maybe some of you don't. But yes.
She's like, "I think Kaylee's dead."
She had an interaction with a date.
Don't let it die.
You need to be vocal. We went and investigated Adam. Adam is about her.
Half of they almost became to us like two halves of a whole.
Yes, it's good actually. So welcome all new.
On December 28th, 2 days before the suspect was arrested, my friend Bullhorn Betty and I had the honor of meeting the Goncalves family. If you guys know anything, please contact the tip line. It's important. If you live in the area and have anything. They welcomed us into their home.
I hate having the day to death home there. It was a scavenger hunt. Getting frustrated, don't blow a gasket, head to the
This is a good one.
to get your Easter basket. She did a yeah.
It must have been that year that they
What's going on,
dressed up
Steffi?
in the bunny costume. It was Jack dressed up in that bunny costume when my kids came over.
And Kaylee hopped off down the street in the bunny suit.
Yeah.
And she still had her dark hair. Yeah, the years just fly by, and but that's our only family photo.
Their daughter, Kaylee Goncalves, followed me on TikTok and shared my videos with her family, which is why her father, Steve, reached out to me a few weeks ago. This interview is bittersweet and personal.
Well, thank you for having us. We're very honored, and we're very sorry for your loss, and we want to help in any way we can. And I think telling Kaylee's story is profound.
Yeah,
and
I've seen that.
that's really important.
I was just saying that.
Her humanity, yeah, and humanizing her story. What was Kaylee like as a child?
She was very rambunctious. She just was full of energy. She was the middle of 5, so 2 older, 2 younger. Olivia was the oldest, and just was constantly trying to keep up with the olders, and then be a little boss hog to the littles. She was the fair police. Nothing got past her. If there was, a $200 pair of shoes that she wanted during school started, and we had school clothes to buy for everybody, it was like, Kaylee, you got to bring that down a little. We have 5 kids to buy for. You might as well just buy them for her now, because she would just nap you to death until you just buy them, and the other kids would be like, wow, we'd be like, she was a total hustler, though. Yeah, she was.
I want you guys to pay attention, because there's a time in this interview where conversation gets, deep, and they begin to talk about something that night, and it's actually very important.
She would be like, Mom, can I, mop the floors for $5?
Mm-hmm.
And Mom would be like, yeah, that's a super good deal. And so she kind of got this name about herself growing up, where she was the cleaner, right? So Kaylee was the one who was like she was known, where she knew that if she, before Mom and Dad got home or whatever, did the dishes, wiped the counters, swept the floors, and mopped, Dad was gonna give her 20, and she was gonna beat you to do it. And I got to the point where my brother and I didn't even try anymore, because we were just like, Kaylee's gonna do it anyway. Because she was just a hustler like that. Because even before, now she was into, obviously her Range Rover, she's really proud of that. Her designer clothes, stuff like that. That was just who she was. But it started with Claire's, with hair accessories, and then it was Bath and Body Works, and she was collecting the scents and the little hand sanitizers.
Everything was a competition.
Everything was a competition.
Steven
and it was
woke up after playing a video game with her, and she was still playing it. He was like, I'm in trouble.
Steve's throughout all the pain that he's endured, he's still found. I think he's finding happiness through standing strong and just being a strong person. Shout out to him for being able to overcome. I mean, he kind of, if you go back during the case and you look at the Goncalves family, they have been vocal, right? And you can relate with them. It's actually very sad, emotional, but I can definitely relate with them big time.
This girl wants it more than me.
She had to be this woman.
So it seems like she was driven from a very young age.
She had 2 older brothers. Bryce was just right there.
Her cousin grew up very close
So she
with
thought
us.
she could be as fast as them. She could ride the
Always
bike.
wanted to race them. Wanted to ride the motorcycle.
We would go out on the lake. With the boat, my parents had a boat. We would go out, and my dad would say $5 to whoever is the first in the water for the season, right? And it was cold. It's probably about 59 degrees by the time we're going out. Kaylee was.
It was $5.
It was $5. It was $5, and she would do it. And she would do it for $5. She jumps into that water. She instantly pops her head up and is bawling. Just bawling. It was that cold. But she couldn't let the boys beat her. She couldn't let me beat her. No. She couldn't let anyone beat her. She was like, it was definitely the financial motivation, as well as her just being like, I'm going to be number 1. Yeah. There was this big pole in the lake, and you could kind of climb up it. It was a little rickety, but you could get to the top and you could jump in. I was always too scared to do it. Kaylee was like, she watched Steven do it, the boy. I was like, I'm going to do that. And I was like, Kaylee, don't do it, Kaylee, no. And she was like, I'm not scared, Olivia. You're just being a baby for being scared. And she climbed her ass up that pole, and she jumped off. I know
Steve
he's
was
tall.
rooting for it the
We
whole
have
time.
pictures of her. We have pictures
He
of
was
her.
ripping. He said, "Don't look down because I told the kids,
Don't
if you
look down, Kaylee."
you'll do a face plant."
It was tall. Yeah. So it was my idea. My mom she had Autumn, who's the fourth baby, and she was pregnant with Aubrey, who's the fifth. So she was upstairs taking a nap. And my dad was still at work, and I was kind of just watching. My little siblings, we were all just hanging out. I had an idea that we had a double garage, and it was an automatic door. And I don't know why, but I got this idea that we should have a competition and see who could hold on to the garage door as it went up the longest, and then he would drop. And so we were doing this. We had a whole setup. At one point, my brother was like, "We need a washcloth. This is cutting my hands." Right? That should have been our notion to stop. Right? I should have known better. But we all got so competitive about it. So by the time my dad, drove up home,
And the kids are hanging on the garage.
that's been going nonstop for 40 minutes.
Up and down.
Oh my God. Just the little garage engine that could. And this garage door, if it had come crashing down, it was probably 250 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Would have crushed us.
Scared me.
It was the only time ever growing up that Dad actually got mad at us, and we were in trouble. And I remember Steven and I we were upset. We were crying. We had disappointed our dad, right? We were so sad, and Kaylee just kind of wasn't. We thought that was all weird until my dad kind of realized him just being disappointed wasn't enough for Kaylee. I told a little prankster, but we were all pranksters. Mom and I would prank the shit out of Kaylee all the time. We
That's
just
the way I raised you guys. I
didn't.
raised you guys to be interesting like that.
Right, just wanted to
She really didn't do any,
lives that
major
he
sports
only
or anything
dreamed
like
of
that.
having. That's a fact.
Yeah, she definitely. We all
Apple
did
pie.
baseball. She was on the same team as my brother, actually.
What's
But
going
she
on,
didn't do
Mike
that
D?
for
Welcome
long.
back, brother.
She wanted to do soccer for a minute, Dad, but I think she just did a soccer camp for summer, and she was out of that. But she never did the cheerleading.
Softball for a year.
Yeah, she did the team.
Well, I was wondering because you guys were talking about competitiveness, and I'm thinking,
She was born that way,
Yeah.
honestly. She really just. I remember the day Kaylee was born. I'm about 5 years older than Kaylee, so I must have been 4 or 5. But I remember the day Kaylee was born.
Best part about the story is when kid actually gets in trouble.
Yes. So Kaylee's clear.
Here's the truth. I whipped your asses.
Oh yeah, we got spanked. I
You're
just want
almost
to
gonna
say
be
that.
I literally see my kids dying in front of my eyes, and I ran up and I was like,
Right.
What are you guys doing?
and they're like,
Definitely.
"Yeah, it's so fun, Dad. We're gonna do it again." I'm like, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
You just basically give me the worst dad award ever." My kids are gonna die from my driveway.
So we go inside.
They get whippings.
Dad's mad. Steven and I are just blubbering messes. Our dad's mad at us.
Stone-faced.
And Kaylee's just stone-faced. And we're like, this is weird,
Cry,
right?
Kaylee, cry.
My dad notices, and he clicks. Something clicks with him. He goes, "By the way, Kaylee, I'm not taking you to Claire's tonight." And she dropped to her knees and started bawling because for her, give her any corporal punishment. Tell her you're disappointed in her. Tell her, that was a bad move. But don't take Claire's at the time.
Not
It was
going to
all
the mall.
Claire's.
Not taking you to the mall.
Yeah, she wasn't going to the mall, and that was it. She had already planned her next outfit. The next day around that Claire's accessory she was gonna get. I don't know. But
She wound up getting it.
Definitely a
she
strong
did. She
thing.
actually did.
She did a lot of chores.
She did a lot of chores. I was like, all right.
I like the fact when they get into some stuff. I'm pretty sure it's around here. I don't want to skip it. I want to watch it. But they get into some stuff. You guys, I have not seen this. You haven't seen this? Wait till they get into this information right here. I'm telling you. Then listen closely because it kind of gives away something in the case. That's why I want to watch it.
All right, let me finagle my way out of this. What if I
Seriously.
What if I iron your shirts, Dad? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can I wash the boat?
What do you remember the first time the girls
Something
met? I know you
important,
said they met each other in the 6th grade, but do you guys remember that event when they met? Like when she came home and first told you about her friend
These girls
Maddie?
definitely know that. Talk about how conservative and how
Maddie's we had been hearing about Maddie, her new friend that she'd met at her new junior high and whatnot, which was at the school they met at. And, but for Maddie to come over, her mom wanted the whole phone call and whatnot, and I wanted to meet them in person and all that. And I was very much so a little bit like, I don't know, I was just very like, sure, you can go. Maybe a quick phone call, but I mean, she wanted it. Like her mom wanted to meet us. Her dad wanted to meet us in person and be like, come into the house. And we were like, she wants to come into the house. It's gonna be a good. They want to like have a sit down just for their kid to come over for a couple hours. She's not even staying the night. It took forever. She used to come over after school all the time, but every time they would walk her in, they would say, "How's it going?" Hello, this that. Her dad would, or they would call, and then it finally started getting to the calls. I'm like, well, we're getting a little better now. We just get the call like somebody's going to be there the whole time, right? Maybe 3 hours. You're going to be there,
baby.
and Maddie just fit right in with us. I mean, she just absolutely just
That was it. School started in August, and it was September that Maddie started coming over, and that was it. That was
like spend the night
all the time. And then it got to where she just would spend the night. Kaylee would spend the night over there. I mean, it didn't matter if it was a school night or not. The thing with Maddie was she was kind to the little sisters. We had two, and they loved her so much, and she would play with them. Like not a lot of your older friends, because they were pretty, they were like, they're brats, but she really embraced Autumn and Aubrey and Olivia. Olivia loved her, and she just and Steven. She was kind of Steven, and
the family.
Yeah. They were totally like yin and yang, where they were such opposites of each other, but it just worked so well together, where it was like half of they almost like became to us like two halves to a whole, where it was like, yes, Kaylee is my sister and Maddie is my sister, but like it's Kaylee and Maddie. Like as strange as that sounds, it was
one had no patience, the other one had all the patience.
They would balance each other in just like
every vacation we went on,
beautiful way.
We wound up Karen wound up letting us take Maddie out of the country. We took her to Belize, and we took her to Cozumel, and we went to Grand Cayman Islands, and Maddie was with us. Karen took the girls to Hawaii on a girls trip.
Swears that was the best trip she's ever been on.
We're like, we've been here, and here, but
she said Hawaii and Maui specifically.
Stateside, so you were like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That's
she's a bad trip with Maddie, and
robbed.
They just
some of the best memories of her life.
They had other friends, they were in a group of bigger friends, but it was always
they were robbed.
Kaylee and Maddie, always. There was a couple other friends.
It was like this ebb and flow, where it was like, they were always together, but like there was always room for others because they really were sisters. It wasn't like this competition between them of this best friend slot. Like that was always a given, and they really were just kind of combined, I guess, in a way that was more complex than a friendship. Yeah. So it was like you'll see a lot of pictures of Kaylee with other people, or Maddie, or I've seen a lot of people say, well, how close could they be if they were in different sororities? And that was just
hard.
so
that was hard for them.
It was
because they both went and rushed to get the Navy house, and Kaylee got in and Maddie did not, and she wound up in fight. But it was really good.
It was so good for them
because they really did live their lives a little bit different, separately for those couple of years. Even though the houses were right around the corner for each other, there was a lot of devotion that you had to put within those houses, within those groups of girls and stuff. So Maddie made a ton of new friends, and Kaylee made a ton of new friends, and I mean they still spoke a lot, but
came home every time together. They would drive back together, like
vacations
like
together,
sisters. Where it's like
Mexico and stuff, and
how it was,
And then Kaylee moved in with Maddie. They moved out of their sorority houses a couple of years ago. And Maddie moved into that house, and Kaylee had moved into an apartment. And then last June, Kaylee moved in to Maddie's house.
A lot of people, I think, don't realize, but Kaylee was just about to graduate.
Kaylee did graduate.
She did. She was fully graduated.
It wasn't a phase.
She was done.
She was done.
Yeah, it wasn't given posthumously. She earned that.
Yeah.
She earned it, and that was really frustrating for us.
Yeah.
It's almost like she knew she only had a certain amount of time on this planet, and she was rushing through it as fast as she could.
She always did summer school and whatnot, so
sad.
And she just only, a few weeks before that, that she was gonna be graduating in December. And she was so, she goes, I don't know if I'm going to I just might just get my degree. And I'm like, well, let us know,
Absolutely
you know, because we'll
But
be
I
down
was
there.
proud of her to be like, I don't need the attention.
And then,
I've earned it, and I've earned it fast, and I'm ready to just move on with my life. And I was like,
we will.
That's how we look at life. You know, it's not about the celebration. It's about just moving on to the next step. And gosh, it would have been just an amazing citizen for our country. The person that would show everyone like you can come from anything and do anything and just work hard and be a success. And that's such a good positive message, and we lost that, you know, and that's really hard for us.
Yeah, and she just bought that Range Rover, and you guys must have been so proud.
2 days before.
I wanted her to buy something
bought it
more
on the-
reliable.
Yeah, I wanted
As
her-
a dad, I was like, no.
She was looking at a few cars, and I said, get the Mercedes, get the Subaru. I said, but do not get that Range Rover, Kaylee. And she goes, I know, Olivia, but the name. And I said, it's gonna be nothing but problems for you. I tried to talk her out of it, and then my mom actually went and called me. She goes, she got the Range Rover, and I was like, well, I'm proud of her. I was like, I'm just gonna bite my tongue. I'm proud of her.
She did it all on her own. And she called Maddie. It was really funny. She goes, Mom, I just called Maddie. And she had been like back and forth for days. This one. She goes, I asked Maddie, so which one do you think I bought? And Maddie said, I don't know. Okay. Ferrari. And she goes, so she has no idea. She has no, and she goes, I'm just gonna surprise her. She's like, she's really gonna, you know. And I'm like, she's gonna be surprised. It's nice. It is really nice. But she worked for everything, right? You know, like she had her full-time job. It was technically an internship, but it was paid. I helped her negotiate a better rate on it. And then, yeah,
always been a family.
She got a full-time position with that company as well. I helped her write her email to her boss. I still have it in my notes on my phone. Where I said, hi, Jeremiah. I said, hey, Jeremiah, you know, I'd like to talk to you, but it's so proud of her. And like, she always did that. Like even as a kid, even with Claire, she always worked for it. You know, she never had anything handed to her, you know, anything like that. She always had the support of her family. But
she called me and was like, Dad, do I sound stupid in this proposal? And I'm like, well, pitch it to me, girl. And she's like, all right, so I'm going to say this and this and this. And then we just go back and forth. And I'd be like, all right, you know, this is how you say this acronym. This is how you say this. She literally looked for everyone to help her because she was smart enough to understand that my hustle will work, but I still need the knowledge of all the people around me. And I think that was the part that made me think, like, I never worried about her.
Never.
I always just like, dude, she's just gonna.
I never worried about Kaylee.
No.
She called us frequently. We called her. When we called, she answered. You know, she kept in touch with us. She made, you know, good choices, you know, positive choices.
And she learned from the mistakes of others. You know, like I was the older sister and like made a lot of mistakes.
Thank you, Joy.
Kaylee was the one to really like sit down and be like, okay, you messed up here, Olivia. Like, can you tell me why you did this? Like walk me through your thought process so I don't make that same mistake. You know, and it just made me really proud of her to like not have her only like learn from her own mistakes and like make her own good decisions, but to be able to like look at those around her and, you know, with love in her heart too, to be like, help me be better, because, you know, she knew that's what we all wanted.
And you guys touched on something. I think we touched on it earlier at lunch. Going back to the night of the 12th, November 12th, and I think you hit, and I didn't even think of that perspective, but they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that, the buddy system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
Here we go.
Yeah, they had a private driver. Yeah, I apologize. It was a private driver that they had actually used before, so they knew him. They had a relationship with this individual.
We knew him as a family member, and he really helped us.
So pretty much a friend, a family friend, somebody that was their private driver.
Bing bang.
Yeah.
He turned us on to the food truck stuff.
Yeah.
He was a great person.
Good people. And then only went to like known locations with known people, traveled only together on well-lit, known streets to get food before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up home to go eat after a night of drinking, being 21, Ubering out, Ubering home with your friend,
They were totally chaperoned.
and then
Everyone
going to
was-
bed.
They were doing everything the way that you tell your kid to go. You
Yeah.
know, you don't be two girls all by yourself. Have somebody there that can walk with you. Everything was perfect. Everything was good.
Yeah.
All the way up to where they went to bed and went to sleep.
Yeah.
And that I can't control. As a family, we can't control what happens when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
When you go to sleep, that's us as society. We have to determine, are we going to let these people be out here that can do whatever they did, sneak into a house, whatever it was? Are we going to allow that to be normal? Are we going to allow that to be okay?
Yeah.
Because we all go to bed at night.
Yeah, what was their flaw? They didn't have a nanny cam in their home? What could they have done to be more
They
safe?
locked the door perfectly.
Yeah. You know, it's Moscow, Idaho, it's safe.
I wonder about the door because Kaylee was a door locker. She would come
totally
here,
was.
and so I question that all the time. Like, why wasn't the door locked? Why wasn't the door locked?
But that's not what society's built on. You don't say, oh, well, you didn't lock the door, so you deserve to die in your sleep.
Right. Yeah.
You don't do that. We have to make a society where these people show red flags, we identify them, we address them, and then we remove them from hurting other people.
The phone call the Goncalves family received on November 13th is one they'll never forget.
We were, it was Sunday around
We were watching football.
1-ish, and we were
like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We were
then
watching
our
football.
son was here. Everybody was home except for she was down at her home
We
in LA.
gather on
And my niece called me and she was freaking out. And she said, Christy, have you talked to Kaylee? And I said, yesterday, like last night. And she said, something bad happened. And she was just bawling. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she said, I think Kaylee's dead. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she
All
said,
our stomachs just dropped.
she
We were
said
just like,
there was somebody just called me and they live down there. She said there was a party last night and somebody went in and shot the party up and Kaylee was shot. I was like, what? And I just threw my phone. I started screaming. I started telling everybody to call Olivia and to get all her roommates on the phone. And I started calling Maddie, and Maddie wouldn't answer, and Maddie wouldn't answer. I said, no, this can't be, because Maddie would have called me. If Kaylee was shot last night at a party, Maddie or Jack would have called me. Like, no, and I kept calling. I called Kaylee, and I went straight to voicemail. I was calling Maddie, I was calling Jack, it was ringing. I turned on the TV, and I saw it said 1122 King Road. Like, Kaylee's car was in the driveway, Maddie's car was in the driveway, but it was saying an unconscious person. And we're saying, okay, maybe this isn't, like, maybe something happened. So Steve starts calling the police. Steven, our son, started calling the hospital, and he started calling the PD and saying, my name is Goncalves, and we heard that my daughter Kaylee Goncalves was killed in an accident, and they said, we can't give you any more information, we'll call you back. Well, next thing you know, some more phones started ringing. Our daughters that came running down, 16 and 17 years old, came and said, Mom, somebody just called me and said that Kaylee's dead. And we're like, what? Like, who was it? And she's like, I don't know. It's somebody that they're there and Kaylee's dead. And we were like, oh my God, like this can't be, and it just very, very, very dramatic.
These protocols have to be updated.
Yeah.
These protocols of somebody showing up at your door 10 hours later is ridiculous.
Because we had hours of panic before the sheriff
It was
department.
terrible.
It was about 4:30.
So you guys, they never called you. You guys found this out from family members that were in the area, and you guys didn't get notified. You actually reached out to them, and you guys still didn't get notified for hours.
He wound up calling them twice.
And I get it. Their protocols are all about, like, maybe they'll commit suicide or something, but they have to be updated because social media moves so fast, so quick.
Jamie, what's going on?
That's why we are using social media. I'm not using the most common channel.
We called Karen and we asked Karen if she had heard anything, and she goes, yes, I was told that I need to get down here, but there was an accident.
Was good. We
thought maybe Maddie was the unconscious person, and we had already been told by several people, like 100% Kaylee was dead. And we were like, they're bawling, and they're like,
Maddie was just unconscious.
And then we're like, but Karen got a call saying to come down there. We haven't got a call.
That was a good sign.
So we're like, oh.
And I kept giving them hope. I kept saying, if it happened last night, you guys would know by now. I kept giving them hope. I said, they just released an article that the roommates are being questioned right now. They probably took their phones, Mom. Like, I just kept giving them hope because I live in Los Angeles. It wasn't here. And that's all I could do. But like, it's just this feeling in your gut that like, I sat with.
I knew as soon as my niece, I knew as soon as Sabrina called, I knew that it was real.
Yeah.
And she was freaking out.
And then cops showed up around 4:30.
Yeah, the sheriff came around 4:30, and then he told us that there were 4 victims, and we said, "Is one of them Maddie Morgan?" And he said, "Told us yes."
Oh, yeah.
And we realized that it was Kaylee and Maddie.
We still knew she was going down there. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, Karen was still on her way, and she
Still driving.
And then she got down there, and she got there about 20 minutes.
Thank you, Blank.
After we got the news, and
Another person who was broken by the news of Kaylee's passing is her ex-boyfriend, Jack Decor. Not only has his life been picked apart, he's been scrutinized by social media.
You know in your heart he had nothing to do with this.
More than, I mean, even just logically. I think that a lot of people assume we're blinded by this individual, but contrary to that, we're very capable of removing our emotions for Jack, which is absolute love, and just looking at the situation logically, looking at this individual in front of us, looking at a pattern of behaviors of him that we've seen throughout 5-6 years. So emotionally, and in our hearts and in our heads and in every sense of the word, it's not.
We did a job
thorough
vetting him.
I asked him to, yes, like, did he have any scratches? Did he have any bruises? He came here immediately after it happened.
He can prove that he had none.
No, I checked his shoes.
Yeah.
I checked his car. I checked his hands.
I took photos.
I checked his neck.
Yeah.
He came over in shorts.
Yeah.
Within hours.
And he was happy.
They were on his head.
Whether they were, I think they were close to getting back together. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were. Whether she was moving without him or not, he had nothing but love.
We went and investigated Adam. What did you tell Adam? We went through that whole thing. Adam is about her trying to get back with Jack.
Day
Because they're
one.
roommates.
Day one of this all happening, Jack was right there in the trenches with me, reaching out to people Kaylee had called. Who is this?
The first 3 nights are on our couch after he came. He could not.
Did you hear what he just said right there? Run that back right there. Bing bong.
And he was happy for Kaylee.
Yeah.
Whether they were, I think they were close to getting back together. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were. Whether she was moving without him or not, he had nothing but love.
We went and investigated Adam. What did you tell Adam? We went through that whole thing. Adam is about her trying to get back with Jack.
Adam was about her trying to get back with Jack.
Bing bong. They're roommates.
Day one of this all happening,
Investigation complete. Now that question can go away.
Jack was right there in the trenches with me, reaching out to people Kaylee had called. Who is this?
The first 3 nights are on our couch after he came. He could not leave us.
That's why the FBI agent said, Steve, slow down. We realize you guys are ahead of us. We realize that you guys have this chain of thought, and you're going where we're going. We're an organization, and we have to check it a little bit slower than you. And you're just ripping through it, and you're ready to tell everyone. He's like, slow down.
And I know it sounds weird that we asked him to show us his arms and stuff if we trusted him so much, but I mean, I think that
people. I think people would look at you negatively if that wasn't your reaction.
And I said, and I looked him in his eyes, and he was crying, and I was crying. And I said, I'm so sorry.
We hate doing this too, but we have to.
It broke his heart.
Yeah.
And he was just like,
nobody's sticking up for me.
Lifted up
And
his
we
shirt,
were sticking up for him.
and I said, okay.
We're
I said,
not
I'm so
blindly
sorry.
stupid parents.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry when your child meets her demise.
And it did not make me feel good either. But I mean, I was just like.
But when people are like, how do you stick up for him blindly? We're not blind.
No.
Yeah.
We have
And we know that
done
kid's
our
heart.
due diligence. We
know
have
his
looked at this
family. He's been around my babies when my babies were born. He would watch them for me so that I could go to the grocery store by myself.
Right.
He had nothing but love for Keely and Maddie.
The thing that got me is, I love that woman I've been married 27 years with. I've lost my cool. I've said things I shouldn't say. My daughter broke up with him, and within a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, she had an interaction with a date. She said, call me a bitch. And she was like, I've been with one boy my whole life.
And I said, he's never called you. She's like, never. never, Mom. And I said, really? And she goes, never. And he said, you could go make me a quesadilla. And she said, what did you say? And she said, I'm leaving. And she goes, and I left. And I went home like, oh, Jack.
She's like, I might not ever find another Jack.
And I'm like, you might not. And I said, honestly.
We would always tell her that, yeah.
Because she's like, she knows I'm a fly guy.
Oh,
but she's married 27 years, had 5 kids with him, but I'd be like, she's like, your dad's definitely called me some names.
I think it happens in any relationship.
But yeah.
But it's always the people that drive you up the wall are the ones you love the most.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, she said, and I was just like, she's like, never.
Yeah.
Never. And I was
We're
just
supposed
like,
to believe he just takes out 4 on his way to. It just seems like a
Over
huge
what custody of the dog? Like, there's just
It wasn't all
Kaylee
that.
was leaving.
Kaylee was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
Yes.
To read those texts.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
She
I will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
go.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it
every
sounds
day,
like
all the
it's
time.
like you
The
know.
whole time she
And
was
that
gone.
bar
It
scene,
was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
Miss Jackson over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, you know, and to me, that's comfort level. That's body language. This is the person that I'm comfortable in.
We talked to him about the conversation that night. We talked to the other guy about the conversation that went on that night. And they both, you know, they were just like, hey, what's been up? How you been doing? You know, what's been going on? And she was trying to talk him into going to another bar down the street or something like that. And he's like, I worked all day. I'm tired. I'm going home. And he left and went home. And, you know, we think things could have been different.
We questioned
but, you know,
the time in that video.
That
We're not
time
sure if
stamp.
it's accurate. So people might look at that and take it to, based off of the records that we have, there could definitely be some questions on the timing of that.
Right.
For sure. But I will just say, I can't verify the timestamp there, but I know for a fact that after they left the corner club, they walked to the grub truck. It's about an 8-minute walk. So we need to factor that in. And then they ordered food. They were at the grub truck for about 10 minutes.
Here it comes.
And they
Here it
didn't
comes.
leave the grub truck until the Uber driver had arrived at 1:49.
And those
So
cameras
if you
would
work
suggest-
backwards, that timestamp doesn't match up.
I would
So
suggest.
I don't know. I'm not going to say it's completely false or anything or how false it is. I don't know. But I'm saying from the timeline that I know for a fact, working it backwards doesn't match that timestamp.
Gotcha.
and it had just been daylight savings, so maybe they hadn't updated their cameras or something.
We are not going to go to bed and wait for other people to resolve a family problem. This is a family problem. And
This isn't just
both
a
those
family
girls are our girls, and we are not. I'm not handing over. I thought about it. I thought, like, here, just take care of my family and make sure that you find the right guy. And I eventually got to a point where I said, you know what? My family, we're all G's. We call ourselves G's because nobody can pronounce our name. We are not going to sit here and let somebody else do a job that we can't add value to.
And you guys have added value. I mean, you, Olivia, found the Twitch video that actually solidified the timeline.
We watched the
Right here.
video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, that's them. It's 1:56. That's what time they got home. And there's the car leaving, and yeah.
So we're working.
And I have my phone. Kaylee's phone is my phone, so we saw all the calls that she had made.
I mean,
All right. Again, listen right here.
you, Olivia, found the Twitch video that actually solidified the timeline.
We watched the ring video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, that's them. It's 1:56. That's what time.
Watch the ring video of them pulling up, which means there's video footage there. Let's.
They got home, and there's the car leaving, and yeah.
So we're working.
And I have my phone. Kaylee's phone is my.
I thought about it. I thought, like, here, just take care of my family.
They're talking about them getting home from the corner club. So they're saying that it solidified the timeline.
Make sure that you find the right guy. And I eventually got to a point where I said, you know what? My family, we're all G's. We call ourselves G's because nobody can pronounce our name.
Right here.
We are not going to sit here and let somebody else do a job that we can't add value to.
And you guys have added value. I mean, you, Olivia, found the Twitch video that actually solidified the timeline.
we watched the ring video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, that's them. It's 1:56. That's what time they got home. And there's the car leaving, and yeah.
So we're working.
And I have my phone. Kaylee's phone is my phone, so we saw all the calls that she had made, and we with an exact time. And
I reached out to every person she called. I had them send screenshots of the communications that had happened on that day, of texts with my sister,
Bing
of
bong.
the call with my sister. How long was your phone conversation with her? Just to do whatever I could in those first few hours, because unfortunately, by the time we even found out, they've been gone for more than 12 hours.
What America needs to know is you can be a victim all the way up to the point where you just hand it all off, or you can say, you know what? We have a moment in time to make an impact, do our due diligence, listen to what people are saying, write down deep notes, and you can be a part of solving it and work on it. Anyone who thinks that one officer or one department can do this alone, 4 people, they're crazy.
Yeah.
This takes the whole community. This takes all of us to solve. We can't put this on one man, one officer, one police person, one deputy, one sheriff. We have to all come together and say, you know what, this is on us. Are we gonna let these people exist and go undetected? Or are we all gonna come together and say, this is enough? We're gonna stomp this guy out of our community. And I'm telling you right now, we're coming for you. You're going to get stomped out.
Yeah, I feel like America is behind us on this one. I mean, it started.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. If you've seen them get home on rain cam, wouldn't they see them, or would that be them walking up to their yeah? See, that there's a bunch of things that factor into that too. So.
With the community, and then Idaho, and then United States, and I mean, it is just insane. I mean, I have people from Amsterdam.
Yeah, I was going to say it's worldwide now, because I've got people that are in my chats from all
Finland,
over.
little countries in Asia, and Africa. It's insane.
The only role that we can play is to keep this hot. Then that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and say, I have the tech that the FBI does. I'm not going to say I'm smarter than these people or anything like that. But I'm saying our role as a family is it's ebbing, it's flowing, it's molding. It's this one day, it's this another day. And we are there for whatever that is. But it's never going to be for us to sit back and do just nothing. If it's pushing, if it's letting off the gas, if it's going down to Moscow, going door to door, asking for cameras, asking for testimony, whatever it is, we're not going to stop.
This is a small community, and we're not gonna let this become normal. We're not gonna let this become normal.
No, you don't go to sleep at night and
maybe
sneaks in your house.
You don't go to sleep at night not knowing at the end of the day you did absolutely everything you could have that day. To just your own capabilities. I'm not saying go out there and you need to do a bunch of crazy shit. I'm not saying that.
Or yell at other people that they didn't do it.
Right.
You're doing it yourself.
Do whatever you can yourself so that you can go to bed at night saying, Kaylee and Maddie, I still got you.
Still gotta sleep, but
I still got you. Sometimes it's media, sometimes it's not.
Because they don't have a voice anymore.
They don't. But it doesn't mean that it stops where it
it's a
stops.
new way to find justice.
I'm honored that, Steve, that you reached out to me a few weeks ago via email, and I just wanted to know what made you reach out to me, or how did you kind of find me, or just kind of curious on that.
I was looking at Kaylee's footprint on the internet. I'm an IT guy, and I noticed that she had followed some crime type investigators, and I found you. And I was looking through your content, and I was like, all right, this is somebody that she definitely was way more committed to than just a hit or two or a subscription. So I was like, I need to figure out what case she was looking at. I started looking at the case that she was following with you, and then I was like, I'm going to reach out because I want.
She'll help us.
Maybe she can help resolve Kaylee's story. They were already working together for other people's story, but maybe this can help resolve her own story, which is just terrible that this happened to her. But that was the daughter I had. She wanted to help other families find this justice. So if I could find somebody else who already she wanted to work with, then that's the person I want to help solve this case.
She always tried to get me to. Like, I'm not a podcast person. I don't talk. I don't listen to. And she'd always tell me, and I'm like, yeah. I just turn on the radio, AM station all the way over.
And then the crazy part about I think all of it for us too is that we never talked to Kaylee about like, oh, what are you on your funeral?
No.
So a lot of these decisions we're making in the dark. So when we can find those personal connections, it feels like a natural path to go down because it feels like Kaylee guided us. This is Kaylee approved. I'll say it in my head, like I'll have a text from her that says, I love oranges, and this is Kaylee approved. It wasn't that we didn't know her. It's that there's so many questions and answers you have to answer for at the end that you just don't realize. So to see, Chronicles of Olivia, and she had commented on your videos and followed you and had told me, Olivia, you got to get TikTok. Her name's Chronicles of Olivia. You got to follow her.
She definitely did, yeah.
It feels like a personal connection for us to her.
And that's more important than
anything.
Advertising.
For us to do right by Kaylee, that's all that matters. If we felt doing right by Kaylee was, to lay down and take this, we would do that.
Or just
but that's not
viewership or all this stuff that's so important to people. That's not how we raised our family. We didn't care about that. We still don't care about that. So we're trying to just go by our gut feeling in her life. And if that can play a role in solving this crime, then
I remember seeing that.
That makes it a lot better. That helps with the process of healing.
And that's another thing I want to say is I really admire your family for being in the spotlight and not being afraid and not just kind of walking away. And you guys are awesome. Like, I don't even know how to describe it.
We are afraid. We are worried. People tear us apart. We are definitely worried, and they do tear us apart. But it's not.
It doesn't matter.
That's not as important as our daughter's justice. Our daughter's justice is so much. Like, I might not be employable for 100 years.
I might have blackballed myself as well.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter, because there's just so much.
Have to have justice.
It's so much bigger than us now, and we would give everything for it every day, everything every day for the rest of our lives for it. Because Kaylee would do it for us. Maddie would do it for us.
All of our children would do it for us. But to know what she went through, and to think that I can just pretend like I've done enough.
Yeah.
She went through absolutely a nightmare in our head.
Terror. Pure terror.
So then we have to tell ourselves if we do that kind of effort. And I think that's the new way to figure out how to get through this, because we're finding out there's a lot of cases that are cold.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cases that are cold. People think just shut up and listen. Guess what? There's those parents are calling me right now and saying, don't be quiet.
Yeah.
Don't make the same mistake I made.
Don't let it die.
You need to be vocal. You need to be uncomfortable. You need to take heat. You need to take risk. You might not be employable, but you might you could get justice with that. And that's what we're willing to do.
And those are other victims' parents that have reached out to you to tell you some of their stories.
Other victims literally saying, I follow the rules. I did everything to a T. Multiple times these parents have came out and said, my case went cold. So I'm thinking, if it goes cold, I'm going to say I gave it my all. I did everything I could.
And we're not trying to say we're not going to follow the rules. We're just saying you need new rules, because obviously the ones that you're using aren't working in every case. So we're going to do what's right by us.
Family told us our baby was dead.
Yeah.
6 hours later, they tell us those rules aren't working.
Yeah.
Media goes so fast. So, yeah, we're going to play with a little bit more. I'm an IT guy. We're going to play with some more new modern rules.
Yeah.
What would you say to other parents that may have something like this?
IT guy.
What would be your number one?
What if that's how the whole Because that's where the whole Brian possibly connected to the Wi-Fi there.
Tip or piece of advice that you would share with those parents?
We almost tried to put together an organization just for this, because after we went through it, you learn how much you don't know, and we are self-motivated and highly engaged people. So we were trying to think about like what it's almost like you need a pamphlet to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. But
I just feel like we're still so early into it, and I think I would say
don't be quiet.
Don't be quiet if you have the ability to not be. And most importantly, above all of that, is you have to do right by your loved one, whatever that means. And that's different
Interview
for
me.
everyone.
Interview me.
Yeah.
Nobody knows your child more than you, and every officer should look at you and say, "Tell me what your child's life looked like. How did she wake up? What time did she sleep in bed all day?
Yeah.
Did she wake up? Did
What
she
did
get
she
coffee?"
normally wear to bed? Was she wearing something different?
All
crazy?
pertinent.
So yeah, I would just say you just have to do what's right by them. And if that's, they would want you to just move on and let them, that's absolutely fine. And if they would want you to stay up every day,
Kaylee would
grinding,
not. She'd be like, you all better be hitting the streets and finding this person for me and Maddie.
Right.
Aubrey, where are you? Aubrey, where are you?
And I wish that we had just had
Take Murphy with you.
a stronger hand guiding us through that, and helping us to say, this is someone to talk to, this isn't someone, just so that interview, people might say this afterwards, because I feel like we just felt like we'd been hit by a truck, and then it just kept coming
Which
back.
car?
Because we just kept trying.
But no, every time you talk, you will take more heat. They'll have less patience for you. So you have to be prepared for that mentally, because I don't want to give somebody advice that is actually very hard.
People are going to say,
why she said that, or
that
did she smile when she said that, or did you see the way they looked at each other when they said?
Yeah, you will become a internet sleuth suspect, whether you lived 1,200 miles away like I did or not, and it hurts. And so you have to either just completely ignore it or not look at it.
Yeah,
or get some thick skin fast.
I just don't even look at it. I did it for the first week or so, and it just absolutely consumed me. And
It's
a good friend
full-time
said,
job.
"Get off of it. Just get off of it." And I said, "You're right." And I was in all the little forums on Facebook, and I just unnouted myself, and I told her, I can't see people chew up my daughter, and chew him up, and chew me up.
Yeah, they got it.
And I'm in every group I can be. I monitor every post,
You are a
every
very strong,
She's my hero.
young woman.
She's my every single one, because what if he slips up there? What if he's in one of those groups? What if he says something that's a little too close that gives me a bad feeling?
That's why
It's a long shot, but it's what I can do. I can take that time. I can read this post. I'm physically capable of doing that, so I will.
One thing I would give to another father, if you have a role in that family, that you are the guy that's taken a leadership role in that family. We've always been there. We've been married for 27 years. I would suggest that you don't underestimate yourself. Don't let yourself be so small that you're scared to question that. Police officers and say, "Why didn't you ask me about these things?" You need to engage them. You need to be aggressive. You need to go in there and say, "You know what? I know about that dog. I know about her favorite shirt, her favorite dress, her favorite shoes." It might seem stupid, but as a father, I know my girl. And I think that information, even if 80% of it is invaluable, 90%,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Something there could tell those officers if your daughter was behaving in a suspicious way, like she felt uncomfortable, or if she was totally in a comfort zone. And we can see it. We see the video. We're like, "Oh, she's totally comfortable." But the world looks at it and they turn it into like, she's super uncomfortable. So
Why did she say carbonara like that?
Fun time with Daddy, and hope your shoulder feels better.
What the hell did your shoulder?
We thanked Kaylee's family for sharing the precious memories they had with the girls, as well as sharing the difficult moments they've had since this tragedy. Before leaving, Christy showed us Kaylee and Maddie. Their ashes are in urns that stand side by side. This is a sight I will never forget, forever etched in my memory. I really hope the 4 victims will get justice, and whoever stole their lives away will be held accountable.
Yeah, well, that. Oh my God, thank you. I'm so excited. That was good because I watched it one time all the way through, so that'd be my second time, and I actually caught a few other things that I didn't catch. Extremely sad. Extremely sad. How heartbreaking every time. He said I had a real bad feeling when he was talking from the get-go that day. Incredibly sad. Justice for Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana. You're welcome, Shani. I love recapping. Yeah, me too. I do too. I always love recapping. When you said lock your doors, yes, lock your doors for sure. It's been about 3 hours. I'm about to get off here. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me tonight, and I'll see you guys again soon. Shout out to everybody in chat, and I will holler at you on the next one.
I count my blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
It wouldn't be the same with none of y'all by my side. You hold me down every day and it makes me strive. I wake up and look forward to doing these lives. A lot of y'all really came and opened up my eyes, and I hope I gave it back because it comes with yours. No matter what they say, I know I opened up them doors. I brought a family together even though shit was rough. They tried to shut us down, but we really shut them up. No matter what, we stand together when shit gets tough. I wanna thank everyone for showing me love. The Rev Gang family is something I cherish and love, and I'll smack anyone for fucking with us.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
No one making a voice to the voiceless. People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss is something that we find important. Rap gang strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will add up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People trying to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps. Your loyalty means a lot to me, so this is a special thank you from me.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I I count my blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
It wouldn't be the same with none of y'all by my side. You hold me down every day and it makes me strive. I wake up and look forward to doing these lives. A lot of y'all really came and opened up my eyes, and I hope I gave it back because it comes with yours. No matter what they say, I know I opened up them doors. I brought a family together even though shit was rough. They tried to shut us down, but we really shut them up. No matter what, we stand together when shit gets tough. I wanna thank everyone for showing me love. The Rev Gang family is something I cherish and love, and I'll smack anyone for fucking with us.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
No one making a voice to the voiceless. People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss is something that we find important. Rap gang strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will lead up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps. Your loyalty means a lot to me, so this is a special thank you from me.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Yeah, I got goals. And you know what? I was trying to help a lot of people and not worrying about myself, not pushing forward, not worried about my grind. I put everyone before me. And I promised myself when I woke up on my 32nd birthday that I would make a change. And I'm gonna stick to that. People need to understand that I put my energy and everything that I have in my soul into this music shit. I live, I breathe it. I got this music running through my soul. You may never know. Step away, cause I see the fake. Foot up to his throat. Anybody stepping in my lane, they gon' catch the smoke. Got my goals and I'ma stick to it. I ain't playing hoes. Listen, homie, I ain't playing around and run circles around these fucking clowns. Anytime that they talk shit, they know I'm ready to go walk them down. I do what I do with the best style. Say the shit with my chest style. Fuck with mine, you get stepped on. I run the track with no legs on. Pump the gas up like an Exxon. Pump the brakes before your ass gets flexed on. The mic is my weapon, these words are my bullets. And you be foolish to try to test me, I cock it and pull it. They be hating, let's face it, they try to turn me to Satan. I got a cross on my chest, God's got my back with the fakeness. I spit my shit with conviction, you rap that shit you ain't living. You signed a deal with the devil, I'd rather go to a prison. I'll break them down in a sentence, with this pen I was given. Have it quick in the mission, my hands are certified like physicians. I'm not pausing for the wicked, I'm above and I'm winning. They just wanna see me fall, but I stay breaking down the fence. Over the years, people always wanna get at me. No matter what, they try to turn me to an enemy. I had a lot of folks become a fucking friend of me. They stab me in the back once they get every bit of me. Get with it, but I'm done, dog. Back away, cause I'm pissed off. You better stay your way. If you know what's up, you better get lost. I'm the big boss, call me Jigsaw. When they get a taste, it's like withdrawals. Like a chop through any beat, like a swing around blades from a fucking chainsaw. Back up, act up, run them over like a Mack truck. The only time you seen a G is from that keyboard that you whack from. Homie, I've been through the struggle, overcame all of the stumbles. If you ain't made a mistake, then you ain't never seen trouble. Feel it in my soul, I've been staying up late, grinding hard, I'ma blow. I'ma never hit the brakes when I hit that stage. I'ma show a motherfucker how to shut down a show. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face. While you talk behind my back, that's an act of a snake. I just wanna know the truth, how's it feel being fake? If you look in the mirror, that's why we can't relate. Being blind about to come and put you in the sights. When I bang, you know I'm aiming for you in the lights. I'm a pitbull, when I see you, I'ma take a bite. Don't ever look at me, cause I could really take your mic. You play me hard and you really about that fucking life. Until I go John Jones and land a couple strikes. I swing the left and I follow up with the right. I'm like a Viking, cause I'm always ready for a fight. I've been a man on a mission, I'm in a heavy possession. About to come and cause a couple collisions. Cause people never take the Ritalin, but I be getting rid of them. I'm sick of all these rappers, they are always acting ignorant. They claiming that they're better than the next. They think they got bars that are better than the rest. Don't sounding like a couple dudes having sex. If you're gonna stand up, at least say it with your chest. Let's get it, motherfucker. Living for the music, I just feel it in my soul. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just going with the flow. I've been at it hard, every day my hustle grows. I'm pushing for the top, yeah, I know I'm about to blow. I've been doing this for days, staying up late. Got my foot on the pedal, I ain't pushing on the brakes. If you try to come and stop me, you will end up in the lake. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face. Living for the music, I just feel it in my soul. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just going with the flow. I've been at it hard, every day my hustle grows. I'm pushing for the top, yeah, I know I'm about to blow. I've been doing this for days, staying up late. Got my foot on the pedal, I ain't pushing on the brakes. If you try to come and stop me, you will end up in the lake. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face.
Finna be bringing my diesel, gold premium under my seat zone. 144 miles per hour, spending a token on my pink flamingo. Smoking that sticky icky weed, bro, with the tree flow. Under my hammer, repeat foes, guarding your ass, all of this beef. Got your pitch in your cheek, stitching the lead. No, I ain't fucking done, I'm pissing right up on your feet low. Nothing in this game, I got the cheat code. I might as well be Superman. Too much power can debate. I'm the trooper on the roof, shooting double barrel oozes at your face. Snap a Luther with this Ruger, Theory's bang, and this loser with the cane gang. This is my lane, you best get out my way. I done threw out my brakes if you're cruising for pain. I can ruin your day, I can truly be ruthless, no shame. I will crash this shit right through your place. I'm sick in the mind, fisting these bitches, unpredictable lines. Invisible, divisible eyes, invisible to insolent, ignorant ties. Pigment is blind, but I can smell a fucking pig in his thigh. Into my sight, like a vampire, see no reflections. Coming for your neck, cause I'm feeling for erections. Get off on blood when it's leaking out intestines. If I'm the villain, I'ma eat it out your chest, bitch.
Living for the music, I just feel it in my soul. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just going with the flow. I've been at it hard, every day my hustle grows. I'm pushing for the top, yeah, I know I'm about to blow. I've been doing this for days, staying up late. Got my foot on the pedal, I ain't pushing on the brakes. If you try to come and stop me, you will end up in the lake. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face. Living for the music, I just feel it in my soul. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just going with the flow. I've been at it hard, every day my hustle grows. I'm pushing for the top, yeah, I know I'm about to blow. I've been doing this for days, staying up late. Got my foot on the pedal, I ain't pushing on the brakes. If you try to come and stop me, you will end up in the lake. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face.
Bounce. Bounce on the beat to defeat me. You gon' have a whole crowd to eat. Go ahead and get the plate by the order number 9. Talking steak tips, bitch, you really about to die. Call a suicide jet, Epstein on the line. When I kill a motherfucker, tell the rappers better hide. I ain't playing with you bitches. Ain't nobody really wanna get it. When I'm talking motherfuckers, pay attention. I've been back at it like a crack addict. In the morning, take a jab at it. If you really wanna feel it, born it on better than rappers and cap a racket it back. And I'm slapping any of you fuckers that really want it on some real shit. I've been around now, they call me the ghost. Sending with jokes by the snap, going up at the throat. On the road, killing rappers, I'm about to unload. I cock a bat like a gun, I'm a blow. But that's pop, pop, pop. And I ain't done yet. I can murder any beat I'm having fun with. Let me make a memo of anybody that got it like I don't got it. My ammo is ready, I'm ready for them. No doubt about it, I'm coming, I'm running up and they better be ready for it. Cause when I get them in my grip, it's homicide part 4. Damn. Yo, me and T-REV and Blindside just fucking killed it.
Living for the music, I just feel it in my soul. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just going with the flow. I've been at it hard, every day my hustle grows. I'm pushing for the top, yeah, I know I'm about to blow. I've been doing this for days, staying up late. Got my foot on the pedal, I ain't pushing on the brakes. If you try to come and stop me, you will end up in the lake. If you ever got a problem, come and say it to my face. Living for the music, I just always revved up, I'm never turning down. I smoke a blunt to the face to calm my nerves down. I'm reaching up, got my head right above the clouds. I can feel the calm before the storm, there is no tapping now. I'm always revved up, I'm never turning down. I smoke a blunt to the face to calm my nerves down. I'm reaching up, got my head right above the clouds. I can feel the calm before the storm, there is no tapping now. There is no tapping now, that's not what I'm about. I'm down to ride, always high, head above the clouds. I'm on my grind, try to stop me, I'ma knock you out. Praised in the streets, little boys, you are not allowed. Claiming you're the best, now I'm coming for your neck. I came out the pussy with the mic as a vet. I've been on the grind, they see me as a threat. I ain't here to sign deals and run off with a check. I just got a lot of passion and a heart in my chest. I love making music, when I do it, it's the best. I've been working non-stop, serving beats like a chef. I'm here to take over, separate me from the rest. Cause I see a lot of separation from people that wanna go and help, but they never go and do it. They claim they really about that life like 6ix9ine, but in court look foolish. I've been all around the block, streets flooded with the cops, doing time in a cell life, looking at the box with my mind on my dreams, now reaching for the top. If they say that I can't, I prove them wrong on the spot. I'm always revved up, I'm never turning down. I smoke a blunt to the face to calm my nerves down. I'm reaching up, got my head right above the clouds. I can feel the calm before the storm, there is no tapping now. I'm always revved up, I'm never turning down. I smoke a blunt to the face to calm my nerves down. I'm reaching up, got my head right above the clouds. I can feel the calm before the storm, there is no tapping now. They got you tapping out. Let's go. What's all that rap about? You got bars, but your music ain't a cap and gown. You try to make a song, your hooks lack the sound. The fact you think you're good has got me laughing out. Step hand to the belly of the beast, you all food on my table and I'm ready for the feast. Stomping on the field like an old Pericles. You better hang it up now, cause I got you by your feet. Walk you like a dog, cause I got you by the leash. Labels got you on the paper, sign the deals like a lease. But you do what they say and you say what they preach. If that's being real, I'd rather hang from a tree. People don't know the term of being real. They'll be anyone just to go and make a meal. They act all hard to the gangsters in the grill, and they hit a hammer cock on the spot, you get killed. Little sucker, you don't want that beef. Claim you got hands till I catch you in the streets. Run up on a pussy like a steak, you get beat. I've been about that life, different Gacy to the peeps. I'm with it, motherfucker. I'm always revved up, I'm never turning down. I smoke a blunt to the face to calm my nerves down.
Wake up. Yo, if I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round away, so they gon' fuck with me regardless. If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round away, so they gon' fuck with me. Yeah, they gon' fuck with me. I'm posted in the cut, you see. I got some bitches with me. They riding regardless. Let it seen. I've been around the block more than once, a couple of times. I mean, but homie, I ain't snitching. You want it, go spin the block and see. I've been about my money. These bitches can't even touch the green. I got a new track for these hoes. I'm calling and fuck with me. These hoes broke, sitting at home, don't know if they making means. I'm clocking in and cashing out. I'm watching them numbers flink go. If I hop out on them, I'ma let them know. I let them know. I get that money, hit the road. I gotta go. I gotta go. I keep it hot. I make it rain. I make it snow. I make it snow. Ain't no relation to the bitch you used to know. Let's get it go. If I pull up on them, I'ma let them know. I let them know. I get that money, hit the road. I gotta go. I get it go. I keep it hot. I make it rain. I make it snow. Ain't no relation to these hoes. Cause what's a gangster to her? If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round away, so they gon' fuck with me regardless. If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round away, so they gon' fuck with me.
Push the gas and I be on it, I ain't pushing on no brakes. You a rattlesnake, step into an earthquake. All these rappers in the game, been some cornflakes. Music on the radio sounding like a running sink. Hold my YouTube, homie, starting to turn fake. Get a taste of fame and all of a sudden wanna hit the bank. Every song I heard from you belongs in a septic tank. Now I'm launching missiles at your camp like a Russian tank. You voted for body, then now we playing puppet. Got the brain of a deep fried chicken nugget. The cops letting these kids die, so I scream, you should've did something. If it was me with that gun, I would've been dumped. 1 hour goes by and y'all did nothing. If a cop won't shoot, then taking guns means nothing. You wanna take the world's full of hate, all these leaders show corruption. Fucking new world order, I bet I go out bustin'.
If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from till I fall or pass out. Come on.
I get to work until I fall or pass out. I've been putting in work, no time to stop now. Been climbing from the bottom and I'm reaching for the top. Non-stop on these mics, I've been freedom to the spot. I've been keeping it jumping, you putos have been blow. You never really made it, nickname Tony Romo. Back up, cut, move out the pocket. And when I start to make a move, I'm leaving dust like a rocket. They know I'm quick to make a move. Got them all in the groove. Everybody dances when I'm playing the tune. Baby hits the stage, she's shaking the whole room. Turn it up to the left, to the right, make them jump, show love. Take the hate outside, no muss, no bueno, it's bad for your health, no luck. If you fake to my face, then it means you're a chump. Fake friends, I keep them close like a snack for a lunch. If you mess with my baby, bet I'm packing a punch. Take a sip of this juice if you really want some. Cause I'm sick of all these fakers trying to lash out of us.
Messed up, had to figure that out, but I'm back now. I ain't never gonna back down. I don't back out, feeling like I'm all that now. Bunch of lost friends, don't know where the fuck they at now. Turn my back once, I don't ever turn my back now. I'm on cloud 9, I don't plan on coming back down. I'ma push, work, move, get it. I'll be going till I fall or pass out. Come on. Till I fall or pass out, I'ma kick it in the spot like it ain't hot in my town. I'm a boss, I'ma get it even when the sun's down. Bitches sucks on me before, I want them hoes to try now. Any bitch I ever did the wrong way was low down. Serving big bars, bitches rather keep it low cal. Ain't gon' mention all the names and all the bars I hold down. When it goes up, that's when all the bullshit goes down. I'ma keep working and moving, I'm never stopping. I've been going since a young and it's really no other option. I've been at this for a minute, a trapper, but I be rocking. All the bullshit been behind me, but that don't mean I forgot it. Go, get them up though, turn them up. Me and baby in the club, then they showing us mad love. Another banger for the album, I call it a slam dunk. Going up, and I'm showing these hoes what I'm made of. Look, I ain't gotta talk to them, gotta fuck with them. Gang full of clone hoes, I'm instructing them, ducking them. If I can't duck, then I'm crushing them. Someone go and tell the rap game that I'm rushing it. Messed up, had to figure that out, but I'm back now. I ain't never gonna back down. I don't back out, feeling like I'm all that now. Bunch of lost friends, don't know where the fuck they at now. Turn my back once, I don't ever turn my back now. I'm on cloud 9, I don't plan on coming back down. I'ma push, work, move, get it. I'll be going till I fall or pass out. Come on. I'm dripping, falsy. Yo, motherfucker, I'm dripping, falsy, flexing. I be flossing. No bitch like me when I walk in. Ho step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J-walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm mauling. Dripping, falsy, flexing. I be flossing. No a bitch like me when I walk in. Ho step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J-walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm maulin'. I'm street, so I never get boxed in. On a new bag to get lost in. I'ma take it to the bag or a coffin. Keywords, I don't give a fuck what the cost is. Big clips and a big biz, little bitch. Big game, keep you fucking with no fake shit. Same bitch with a new way of seeing shit. Handling my business on my own, I got this. Snow gang in this bitch, G rockin'. No creep, but I got drip, no Dawson. Not creep, pull up real quick, I got him. Yo, cheek floating bits, I'm plotting. G bitch, I know what to do with the drama. Big shots, call them out quick, I yada. Bitches don't know what to do with me, I mean, I ain't letting bitches through to me, I mean, what could bitches really do to me? If you bad, you gon' really have to prove to me, cause new friends just way too new to me. I don't trust nobody, don't trust in me, it's just me, my headphones and the beat. If you peep, we move so gracefully, don't give a fuck what these hoes gotta say, cause G, if they was about that, would've been said to me. Still I'm dripping, falsing, flexing, I be flossing. No a bitch like me when I walk in. Ho step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm maulin'. Dripping, falsing, flexing, I be flossing. No a bitch like me when I walk in. Ho step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm maulin'. Hit the club with some more money, finna hit the block and come back with some more money. Got some bitches hanging out back that'll roll for me. Hoes funny, what you know about that on the low money? I'm a boss, y'all don't get that. Got a loose screw, get back, get sweat back, taking off like a jetpack. Knock heads back, you can call that a setback. I'm a murderer, I ride this beat, I ain't even gonna deny it. Y'all know I've been studying, I'm ready for whatever. If you bitches ever think you wanna try it, goblin, I've been mobbing, they heads nodding. Yeah, you know I got 'em vibing. Bitches always talking about somebody causing problems in the streets, but that ain't making you a profit. I've been dripping, falsing, flexing, I be flossing. No bitch like me when I walk in. Hold step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm maulin'. Drippin', flossing, flexing, I be flossing. No bitch like me when I walk in. Hold step back while a real bitch talking. Walk that talk, J's on J walking. Moonwalk, J walk, free falling. Big check, little check, we ballin'. Sit back, bout to go off, I'm maulin'. I'm maulin'. I'm maulin'.
I've been all up in this bitch, I ain't never take a loss. Got my enemies on a leash, walking like a dog. They stand behind me hating, but we call them bitches frauds. That's why I'm in the studio, I'm my own boss. Every day I'm taking off, I just push it to the limits. Every time I make a song, I feel like a kid on Christmas. I see a lot of hating, but all I hear is crickets. When you see me coming, people better keep the fucking distance. It's been a long time coming, all these demons that been summoned, I just seem to move by them cause I have the fucking stomach. It's like I own the track the way my feet keep running. I stand on home plate while you rappers keep bunting. I've been on my hustle, yeah, I'm rising to the top. Haters get up in my way, then I'ma move them out the spot. Got them spin around in circles, kinda like a fucking clock. Try to take me off my throne, I'm a king and you're not. I've been on my hustle, yeah, I'm rising to the top. Haters get up in my way, then I'ma move them out the spot. Got them spin around in circles, kinda like a fucking clock. Try to take me off my throne, I'm a king and you're not. Try to take me off my throne, I'm a king and you're not. I think you need a couple tissues cause you got a bleeding twat. Talking all that gangster shit but never loaded up a Glock. Never cut up a brick or had to pitch a couple rocks. I been working all around that clock, hustling every time I hit that spot. This is how I'm gonna do for the rest of my life on God. Feed me more like ride back, I'm a level head, you just nod. You're a shot of dope, my energy's crystal meth to you frauds. I stay working like Mexicans on a roof. Take your whole team out like a church, dealing roof. Bars hitting hard like a prison cell full of goons. When I throw all these locks in a sock, your shit is doomed. Let's go. I've been on my hustle, yeah, I'm rising to the top. Haters get up in my way, then I'ma move them out the spot. Got them spin around in circles, kinda like a fucking clock. Try to take me off my throne, I'm a king and you're not. I've been on my hustle, yeah, I'm rising to the top. Haters get up in my way, then I'ma move them out the spot. Got them spin around in circles, kinda like a fucking clock. Try to take me off my throne, I'm a king and you're not.
Alicia said, damn.
I just wanna change my life cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that dough cause all I know's how to hustle. All the people try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son. Listen.
Need my life to change. I'm tired of going bad. I'm tired of being overlooked. I'm tired of being mad. Being sick to death inside, just ain't getting it. Modified, fortified, unsatisfied, I'm losing it. On my knees, I'm begging for change. Trying to rearrange, free myself from these chains. Prison walls inside my brain, closing in on me, consuming me, it's driving me insane. Jesus, I'm begging for your help. I'm so confused, feeling overwhelmed. Surrounded by all of this ungodly-ish. I pray for you to change my situation quick.
I just wanna change my life cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that dough cause all I know's how to hustle. All the people try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son.
son, talking to his son. Listen, I wake up every day, it feels so cold. I keep on looking to find my lost soul. Jesus, take the wheel, provide damage control. Help me to pick up the pieces, help me to be whole. I keep my head high as I fight through the days. Hearing the demons' laughter, I'm caught in their haze. Try to bring me down, I refuse to frown. I fall on my knees and pray to the King of Kings. Change my life, change my ways. I'm praying for better days, cause I'm sick of the haze. I need a change, I'm tired of the struggle. I'm begging you, Jesus, won't you help your brother? I just wanna change my life, cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that door, cause all I know is how to hustle. All I know is try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son. Talking to his son. Listen.